Okay, we're getting to this earlier than normal, earlier than the standard stream. Usually I wait till like trying to go like somewhere between like 5 to 10 minutes before the chapter comes out. We're going a little bit earlier because I'm hyped up a bit about this chapter. I'm extremely excited. I'm extremely hyped up to figure out where this is going to go, and to figure out like, this fight in general is going to be insane. I don't require the whole chapter to be focused on Ignia versus Selene. I would love it if that was the case. My hopes are that it's at least half the chapter. The problem right now that I would say, like, peering outside of the fight, is that there's nothing really going on besides Ignia and Selene's confrontation. The only other thing we could see is, like, what's going on with, like, Misaki, Madmol, and Skullion. Like, things like that, sure, but I don't think we could really focus too much on that. Like, unless Misaki gets up and she's able to fight and get back to that fight and there's, like, a focus on that, I don't really see what else we can really have. Like, again, there are things that we could see, aspects that we can get. Obviously, Natsu and Suzaku's reactions to what's going on. But in terms of, like, actual focused events, I don't really see much that we could switch over to outside of that. Maybe what's going on with LF Seria, because we don't know if he's dead or if he's unconscious. Well, or if he's unconscious. He's definitely something. Whited out eyes on the floor. I hope he's not dead. I really, really want to see him fight. Like, my big fanfiction hopes for LF Seria is that he fights essentially by mass casting big spells. Like, he's just like Abyss Break, Ars Magia, maybe pulls out like something like Ethereon, like things that logically he could do, that he could just use his ability and find the way to do it. But yeah, just because there's gonna be somebody that asks, and I gotta put it in the stream, so I got receipts. So if people annoy me that later, I can tell them to either go back or shut up. The chapter will be out in 23 minutes. Okay, and I'm reacting to it as it will come out. I'm not going to show the whole chapter. If there's something insane, I will put the panel on screen. And I will not be reading the comments once the chapter comes out until after I finish the chapter. Okay? So I'm pre-warning. If I get more people, like there's usually one of those guys that spams that there's like, where's the chapter? The chapter's not out, and it's like 5 or 10 minutes before it comes out, or if I'm mid-reading it, and then they're like, you're a liar for clicks, and I'm just like, no, I'm just saying, hey, we're setting up. I remember, was it last chapter or the chapter before that some guy did that, and I was just so agitated, because I'm like, dude, I've said it like 5 times. You could have scrolled up, or like literally rewound the stream, but whatever. Imagine Selene pulling the Guildmaster and telling Suzaku to fight Natsu. I don't know if like she would really care to do that right now. Like, what would the point be? Like, I feel like with Selene, this, like, it's not something that should be on her radar. It's like, yeah, fight Natsu. Because it's like, also, why would Suzaku really go for it, other than, like, if he is going to listen? Because she's the Guildmaster, so there's also that level of loyalty to the guild that he might still have. Because that's a little bit of a weird one, because obviously, like, Georg he clearly respected. He clearly had, like, a respect for Georg as his Guildmaster. Whereas, like, Selene's the leader, but I mean, like, he still blames himself for Georg, and on top of that, we don't know where he really stands with his full loyalty of Selene. Like, he could easily be in that spot where he's just going to be like, I'm going to take this opportunity to say no. Because, like, Selene also is in a spot where she can't really do anything to Suzaku. Like, if Suzaku pissed her off by, like, refusing to do anything she said, she can't, like, turn to and do something to him. Because, like, she has to give full focus on Ignia. They are equals. There are 2 characters where any form of opening can decide the fight. Like, characters like that where it's, like, dead on set, it could easily, like, one mismove could easily screw somebody over and completely, like, ruin their chance to victory. And Selene should know that. As of at least so far, I think the only dragon god that could potentially be older than Selene, well, Viernez is a mystery, so Viernez is always in that constant, like, maybe. But maybe Alderaan. But other than that, it's probably Selene. Just based off of Selene's, like one, her design is, like, off of, like, a nine-tailed fox, like, the Kitsune. If she's got the 9 tails. I know that in their lore, it's, like, the older, wiser, and stronger they get, the more tails they get. So Selene's tails could be an indicator that she's even older than what we thought. Like, she could be a really old dragon, like ancient. Like, Selene has a very high chance of having that long scale lore. Alderaan is like that too, but obviously, like, Alderaan's not a character that we would have too much of the ability to see a lot of information from. I feel like outside of, like, if he's gonna just outright info dump or tell us, like, there's not a lot that we could just kind of, like, get out of casual conversation, because he's not gonna really converse with pretty much any character that isn't a dragon god. Whereas, like, Ignea's, like, we could get something from Ignea, we could get something from Selene or Mersephobia. The only one it's like, yeah, we're not gonna, like, he's not gonna, like, want to have a conversation is Alderaan. Alderaan's not about that. Like, he does not care. He's about getting his shit done and trying to have his whole conquest. But also, just because we're starting out, I'll get to some of the comments in a second. I do have to do a little shield for my channel. So I do have YouTube member now. I do have a membership to my channel. It's not anything crazy. It's only like a $1 tier and a $2 tier. The $1 tier, you get like a badge. There's only one emote right now. I'm going to add more badges and more emotes and stuff. And then you get like, I'm planning to do members only streams. Just like short streams, maybe chat about stuff, maybe chat about some of the series that I don't really cover that much on the channel, but I still like a lot of stuff like Shonen Jump series that, again, I like, but I don't cover, like Undead Unluck, Mashle, Mission Yozakura Family. Maybe even talk about some of the other series that I read, but I don't really have it much to talk about for them in large scale, like One Piece or My Hero, relatively anything. Like, even you can talk about Record or Ragnarok or Berserk or whatever. And then, like, the second tier is you get, like, special poll voting rights. Because, like, I'm going to try and do about once a week. I'm going to do a poll where we vote on something. There'll be a couple things, like options, whether it be characters, magics, or themes. Vote on something, then we talk about it, whatever wins. And what was the other thing? Because there was, like, one other thing with that tier. Let me double check. I only have, like, 2 people so far, which I do appreciate, 100%. Let me see. I think the other thing is, like, gameplay. So, like, every once in a while, I'll do, like, a stream with a game. Because I know that's not going to be the most popular thing on the channel. But I know that, because, like, I'm not a gaming channel, but I know eventually, like, some just kind of, like, chill, play a game and have a conversation with the people in the chat and the people on the, you know, that frequent my channel would be pretty fun. Maybe, like, ask more questions or whatever's going down. Isn't it Golden Week? Yes, but not for 100 Years Quest. 100 Years Quest is bi-weekly, so they release them anyway. Like, I remember, like, I told the story of it before, but I remember the first year that 100 Years Quest was going, and one of the chapters came out on Christmas. Maybe having a pre-read, reading, and post-reading widgets in the corner of the screen. Maybe. I mean, I would have to mess with my, UI. I could maybe look into something like that. I've never really done too much with a layout of my streams. That's probably something I should do, but I've just never got around to it. Because I don't know, I've never been a guy who's, like, does a ton of editing and a ton of production. I'm more of, like, I can talk. I can have a conversation. I can talk for hours about things that I like, contemplate a lot of, like, different aspects in the series and different things that could come into play, like the whole idea that Ignea might somehow resurrect all the dragons. And one thing that I've been wondering about in the series, that, like, if it's ever going to be relevant again, and this could be the time for it, is the Magna Carta, because that's obviously a huge lore thing between the humans and the dragons. It's something that unified at least 2 sides, and a vow that they have to, you know, to watch out for the humans. My only question would be, like, what would their plan be in the future of, like, if something happened where the dragons would logically help them? Because they said that they would watch over them forever, but it's like, what happens when they do something and you guys are dead, like, literally right now? I also love Kaido's new fire form would just be another reason why Kaido versus Natsu, it would be a horrible match for him. I mean, that's funny. The 2 things that are going to come out of that is, one, people are going to, like, act like his fire is somehow intimidating for any of these guys in Fairy Tail. And it's like, you look at his feats. His heat feats are like base Alvarez Natsu, like right when he came back from the time skip. And 2, people are going to act like Luffy attacking that means that he's got, like, heat resistance to go up against Natsu's fire, which is, no. Like I said, like, it's on there, like, with par with, like, base Grand Magic, or not Grand Magic games, base Alvarez Natsu. Like, it's impressive for One Piece, not impressive for Fairy Tail. Like, not even remotely close. But we get some huge feats. I would love some huge feats, not from the sake of just, like, upgrades, like verse stuff, power level things. I just want to see what these two are capable of. I would love to see some crazy stuff just to see, like, you know, dragon gods on display. What are characters at this level capable of, like, actually fighting? Because we know that Selene, like, in her human form, passively, not even trying too much, is able to mess with planetary bodies. Like, she's able to mess with planets, like, across dimensions, and, like, casually made the moon larger than Earth by multiple fold. Like, multiple times bigger. What's up, Jeff? Is it Jeff or Hefe? Might be Hefe. Because I know, my only guess is, like, it could literally just be saying your name is Jeff, or it's that, what is it, 22 Jump Street, the joke in the opening scene. The chapter is not out, it's out in about 14 minutes. It's almost out. It should be out in a bit. We're just kind of talking beforehand. I've been trying to shill, like, the only reason right now I was trying to shill, I really just opened my shill for my channels enough to get, like, a member on stream, just because I want to see if I get a notification for it. If somebody wants to be my homie and throw $1 or $2 and be a member, I just want to see if the freaking notification shows up. Because I've been in streams where that, like, people that have memberships have gotten members, but I've never had it midstream. Like I said, I just got it set up, so I only have 2 people, and they both joined while I wasn't streaming. And I don't even know really if I don't really know if does it have a button even on, like, in the stream? Is there an option for it? I have no idea. Like, I feel like I should get on, like, a separate account and then just test it or something. It's like one of those things where, like, if I have, like, a lot of very minute things bother the hell out of me. It's like whenever I have a number, like, subscribers, if it's like, what's my at right now? It's like 4,600 or something. When I get to 4,999, I'm going to be annoyed the whole time until it says 5,000. Not because, like, milestone, but more of, like, that one-off. It's like 99. Like, anything that's, like, one away from, like, a specific number like that will bother me forever. Not forever, but until it's resolved, I guess. So the joke from Jump Street, yeah. My name is Jeff. I haven't watched those movies in forever, but they're still funny to me. Like, I remember when they did the jokes about 23 Jump Street and stuff. I was, like, at first, I was like, you know what? I'm fine with it. And then, like, you know, they did, like, the million different sequel jokes. And I was like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way they're doing another one, which I was okay with. It's one of those movies that, like, if they did a third one, I wouldn't be mad about it as long as it's good. Like, I've always wanted them to make one more Anchorman just so they can call it a trilogy instead of just, you know, a movie and a sequel. The obvious problem is, like, they would have to obviously make it good. And, like, Will Ferrell hasn't done, like, anything since like, cancel culture and, like, woke stuff has, like, really gone on the rise. Oh, Bud, thank you very much. I appreciate you more than most people. In fact, hang on a second. Oh, no, you're already a mod. I was going to make you a mod. You know what, Bud? I will make you a mod in my server out of appreciation. One sec. I will send you a link. I think you're already in there, but here. I'll post a link for anybody that also wants to join my Discord. And in my Discord, I will post the link as well later if you want to download the app that you can get the 100 Years Quest chapters on. Because they come out midnight in Japan, like dead on the mark on Wednesdays, which obviously today is Tuesday, but in about 10 minutes it'll be Wednesday at midnight in Japan. So whenever that happens every 2 weeks, 100 Years Quest chapter comes out. So if you do that, then, you know, you don't have to wait for, like, other people to post the whole chapters. And they're only like 70 cents per chapter. Yeah, but I will make you a mod for helping me on that one. Let me see. Are you already in my server, Bud? I think you might be. You are. I added you. Let me see if I can make you a mod. Profile. One sec. I need to find, like, a post that you've made. Let me see real quick. Users from user. Bud. Oh, he's got the freaking spade symbol in front of it, but I can't search the spade symbol. Damn it! Hang on. Let me copy. I can put it in. I can just do. There we go. No, that's not working out. Hang on a second. Because it wants to, like, take your freaking URL. Or not your, like, your profile thing. There we go. I fixed it. No post, bud, but can you post on my server real quick so I can make you a mod? Yes, and to the people joining right now, the chapter will be out in 10 minutes. We are waiting 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, the chapter will be out. Any questions, anything you guys want to talk about beforehand, obviously we can do. But remember, during the points of the chapter releasing, until I finish it, I will not be reading the chat. I am waiting until afterwards to read anything in the chat, including if anybody wants to donate. Like, if I get any more members or any super chats, I'm not going to read them until after the chat. But immediately after the chat, I will, like, anything that I'm aware of, like, if, like it's a membership or a donation, I will look at them. I only have three subscribers, Viz King Lightning channel, and now yours. Well, good. I appreciate it. Viz, I didn't know, like, I guess that makes sense. What does Viz do for their extras? Like, I know King Lightning probably has a ton of extra stuff because he, like, his channel's big enough he does YouTube professionally, to my knowledge. I assume he does, like, I don't know if he has, like, a normal job, but, like, he's got, like, what, like 500k subs, so he can, like, to my knowledge, he can just do that regularly. I don't know what the profit numbers are for that. I mean, I guess he can, like, memberships and Patreon and stuff he could easily do, like, no problem. I wish so bad that, like, I could erase my knowledge of a lot of shonen so I could be a reaction channel and just do, like, Patreon and get people on that. Like, that's a money train. Like, not, like, big rich, but, like, I could easily do a couple, like, I could probably do Patreon, like, if I didn't just do, like, a couple shonens, like, the big ones, and then watch, like, 2 episodes a week, and then, like, continue on that for, like, 5 years and make, like, a couple hundred every month just off that. Unfortunately, I don't. Like, if I didn't, I would consider face reveal and doing that for a while. But unfortunately for me, I've seen a lot of the series. Oh no, the Viz app subscription. Okay, I was like, what do they do for their channel for membership? But yes, also, Bud, since you are a member right now, like I said, I've only got, you are the 3rd member on my community tab. There is the only, like, right now we have one poll up, and it is for the next character video. For those interested, the options are Ultir, Wall, Jackal, and Jura. So right now, Bud, you are the tiebreaker. You can either give Wall or Jackal a vote, or you can tiebreak between Ultir and Jura. So unless somebody else joins, you will be the deciding factor. You can either make it a 3-way draw, or you can pick. And I'll probably, like, keep that up for, like, it's only been up for, like, a day. What's today? Tuesday? I'll probably keep it up to, like, Friday, and then maybe do it this weekend. Okay, I gotta read this question. Let me see real quick. By the way, 8 Luffy vs. Nuts video supposed to drop today as well. Yes, we will be doing a reaction stream on that. That's in, like, 3 hours. So we'll probably do the chapter, and that's gonna be like an hour and a half, and then we'll take, like, a break for, like, somewhere between, like, an hour 45. We'll come back, and then we'll do the reaction to that as well. What would you want Viernes to be like? I'm actually really hoping Viernes is like a Shutaway. I want him to be almost like he's insane, like a hermit, like he's hiding in terror. Or I want him to be like, almost like he has a dragon haven. Like, if we went to his town, there's dragons there because it's like maybe like an underground city. I've had the theory for so long that he's gonna have a golden city hidden away, and it's gonna be like El Dorado. Like, his name is Viernes, Spanish, and he's the gold dragon god. So like, I don't know, I feel like it's an easy tie. There's also the fact, like, I'm wondering if there's gonna be some form of tie into, like, Acnologia, just because Mishima doesn't do a like, every, like, characters with a similar name are, like, from the same place, like, country of origin, but he does have, like, a degree of, like, characters with similar names, like, they don't have to, but there's, like, a somewhat connection. Like, there's something in there that you can say, like, maybe. So, like, someone like Acnologia, we don't know his real name, but he's, you know, from a place with a little Spanish name, and he looks some form of Hispanic. Maybe he's a dragon that was from the same area. Or it could just be nothing. Ignia Large is the sun. I want to see, like, Celine do something, and then you see, like, the stars in the sky shine, like, a bunch of beams come down, and Ignia burn it. Maybe, like, he, like, lights the moon on fire. Like, I want to see crazy shit from this. I don't need to, but, like, I want to. Just because, like, I want to see what their level is capable of. This is, like, the biggest fight we've ever had in the series. Like, outright 1v1. We've had, like, obviously like crazy matches and stuff, but we've never had one where it's balanced on both sides, and obviously the both sides being at this level, like literally the peak of the series. Like this would be like if we ever got the Fairy Heart Zera versus Actilogia fight that people wanted. I have a question. One of the biggest plot holes in Fairy Tail, in my opinion, is how are Sting and Rogue the same age as Natsu and Gajeel when they got stuck on the island for 7 years? Well, they were as old as Wendy. Like at the point where they were involved in the whole Eclipse project, they were about as old as Wendy. The problem is Wendy didn't have that 7 years because Wendy was around 12 when she joined the guild and did stuff with that. So then the 7 years or so, she'd be around 19 to 20, which is around how old Sting and Rogue were at the time. Natsu was like around 18 to 19 at the beginning of the series. If Natsu and Gajeel experienced the time skip, they would obviously, like, Natsu would be in his mid-20s, and Gajeel would be, like... I mean, Gajeel now would be, like, 30, because Gajeel is... I think Gajeel is 2 years older than Natsu last time I checked. Because Natsu should have been around Gray and Urza age, which is, like, that 18 to 19, and then Gajeel, I think, was 21 when we got his guild card. Because I know Laxus was, what, 25 or 24? So yeah, it's only because like one side didn't experience the time skip, whereas the other did. So we got 4 minutes till the chapter comes out. What's up, JK Network? How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm ready and set for the chapter. All right, bud. I see you in the server. I will give you the role. Let me see. I will give you the dragon role. Actually, you know what? I'll give you Dragon Eater. Bam. You can be a 5th generation Dragon Slayer. That means you can solo Black Clover. Freaking got it. I made a post. It's like a versus one. It's not a serious one, but just because it made me laugh. Is Gaja versus Ichiya. Not for like a serious fight, as I just remembered. Like I just thought of the part where Ichiya inhales lightning perfume into his nose. I was talking to Quan about it, and I'm like, what do you think lightning smells like? Like, would it smell spicy? Or would it smell... Like, I'm trying to think of, like, a word, like, that would really kind of... Like, what would be the best way to describe, like, what lightning would smell like? Because obviously, if you said fire, I'd say something like pepperish, spice. What would lightning be? Like, I just immediately think of Pop Rocks or something. Something, like, kind of crackly. I don't know. Where to read? So there's an app that you have to get. If you join my server, I'll post it after the chapter. And so for following chapters, if you want to get it, you can. And the chapters are like 70 cents. So if you download it, it'll link to like if you have like Google Play or whatever, like Apple. I assume Apple. I don't have Apple products. But then you can just like spend, it's like $5 will last you a couple chapters. Like usually I gotta spend a little more because I also read the 4 Nights chapters in Eden Zero. But it depends. I don't think those are out this week. So we should just get the 100 Years Quest chapter, and that's like 70 cents. Yeah, I'm really hyped for this chapter too. Thinking about Jalal as a 30-year-old. Jalal is somewhere around that. Like he is somewhere in his late 20s. He's an older fellow like me. The real plot is why Sting and Rogue never used Dragon Force. Also, the thing is, the Lacrima-based Dragon Force is just not very good. Lacrima-based Dragon Force has never been nearly as big of a jump as either like the artificially induced Dragon Force, when you absorb and take your attribute to the point where you pretty much limit break and are pushed into Dragon Force, or like actual Dragon Force. The Lacrima-based Dragon Force has always been a boost, but it's not even remotely close. Like you look at like Laxus and Cobra, or say Natsu and versus like Sting. The jumps, like Natsu in Tower of Heaven went from like Foot Soldier to with like being able to clap a Wizard Saint, which at the time was literally him jumping multiple tiers. Because keep in mind, Urza could wash Natsu at that point in the series. Like in actual fight, she runs over him, but at that point, Natsu would have completely destroyed her. Like that one was just absurdly more powerful. Urza isn't 19. Urza was 19 at the beginning of the series, so she's around 21, 22 right now. Okay, the chapter's out in 1 minute. How are you liking 4 Nights? I've been enjoying 4 Nights. I was really mad, though, and really upset in the previous chapter where the dude with that really cool armor set was fodder. I really liked that armor set, so I was sad. Okay, the chapter's out. I'm not going to look at the chat until we see. The thumbnail. the little thumbnail on it is or not the thumbnail, but like the thumbnail in the chapter is Suzaku, and it looks like he's bracing himself for probably an explosion. And then the cover is Natsu. He's standing there. He's got he's like talking, or he's not talking to. There's like a mouse, and he's trying to get like a potion or something. I'm gonna see if I can translate the chapter title real quick. I'm just gonna pull up Google Translate and see if I can get anything out of that real quick, just because I want to know what this chapter is called. Okay, camera. Import real quick. Let's see. Can I get a chapter? I think it's literally called like Dragon God Clash or something, or like Clash of Two Dragon Gods or something. Because I see one thing is Soryu, and I know that's like two like twin dragons or two dragons, because that has to Sting and Rogue's title, you know, obviously the twin dragons, and I know that the episode where Natsu fights Sting and Rogue is literally called Natsu, like as it said in Japanese, it's like Natsu versus Soryu, and I know that's literally twin dragons, or probably just two dragons. Okay, let me get to the chapter. So we got Igni and Selene. They're about to clash. Like the first one is literally just them, you know, standing off to each other. Natsu and Suzaku are talking. Natsu looks a little hyped, but Selene is busy. We get a roar clash. Okay, here we go. A moon roar. Like, I want to know, like, what does her moon roar really do? I assume it's just raw energy. We got a massive explosion. It's pushing back Suzaku and Natsu. Igni has made, like... There's, like, a bunch of little, like, fireballs around him, and they're, like, shooting as beams. Like, I think he's doing Eternal Flare. Is he? Selene took a little damage. She goes for a headbutt. She, like, smacks him with one of her tails. Ooh, hang on. This is a really good panel of Selene's tails. How many tails does she have? Because this was one of the things I was wondering about. I think she only has, like, 7 or 8. If she has 8, though, that'll be really interesting, because I know that the Kitsune... Their limit to tails is 9. So, like, if she has 8, she might grow another or something. Because in the lore, the more tails they have, the stronger, wiser, and older they are. So that would be, like, I assume, an indicator of, like, strength for her. So far, they've both damaged each other a little bit. Oh, Natsu's having a little bit of a flashback between Igni and Acnologia. That's actually pretty interesting. Selene's going for an attack. She goes and hits him. It does a little bit of damage, but Ignia spits a little blood, but he looks relatively fine. He's smiling. He's doing like a big attack. There's like fire all around him. Selene's on fire. Okay, let's see. He's like laughing. Ooh, she's coming out of a portal. This looks sick. There's just a portal where her dragon face is coming out. It looks like he's bracing himself. She does like a big attack. Let me see what this attack is called. Let me see if I can get anything out of this. It's like Moonlight Butterfly Scream or something. So like an upgraded version of what she already was doing. Ignis took some damage, but he's still fighting. They just look like he just looks like he's enjoying himself. Natsu's yelling something. He looks mad. I think he's like legitimately having like PTSD. Like, Natsu looks like he's just, like, he's having flashbacks over this. This is actually kind of cool. A big roar. Natsu, no! You distracted Selene! This is exactly what I meant. Selene took some damage. Dude, she got, like, a hole in her chest. Natsu, really? I was saying, like, he immediately, like, I knew the second one of them found an opening, there was gonna be, like, there was gonna be some damage. So, like, Ignia tore, like, a huge hole in Selene's chest. So now I know I'm gonna have to deal with it next 2 weeks if people think Selene is dead. So that's definitely for Team Ignia right now. The status of Selene. I don't think she's gonna be dead. I'll be surprised if Mishima kills her. But the thing is, we know dragons don't need hearts to live. Selene is definitely obviously looking in the rough for this chapter, 100%. I knew that the second one of them found an opening, it was going to be it would be a deciding factor. And Natsu looks like he's been distracting them both, just having, like, outbursts. But he's, like, having PTSD the whole chapter. I actually really want to talk about that. I want to get the translations just to see, like, what is his whole thing gonna be? The only thing I'm wondering right now about this chapter is, like, where's Ignia's, like, big forehead horn? Like, his dragon design changed a little bit, but, like, his whole horn is gone. I still wonder if that's like if it's a full redesign, or if it has something to do with power levels, or if it has something to do with like him in this form specifically. Selene's obviously looking a little rough right now. I loved her attack though. That giant moonbeam looks sick. Let me see. Like, what did Natsu say? Like, Natsu looks mad though. Like, he looks upset about it. Why would he be mad about Selene though? I think he's just having issues. Let me see. I wonder if Mishima's gonna use this new E&D thing, because Natsu shouldn't care about about Selene, but I think that the PTSD might trigger it, and I think that would make sense for this to be a scene where it could cause that, because it could be a Natsu versus Ignia fight, and maybe Suzaku will see some of this. But there's also the fact that factually, Ignia potentially should be the strongest, because like, one, he's the youngest, so clearly like the potential of age is a thing. If Selene is like way older, but Ignia is around equal, that would make sense. Of like, if Ignia with time would be stronger. But there's also the fact that he has been training the whole time, whereas like none of the other dragon gods have been actually working to become more powerful. They all seem pretty much fine with where they're at, but not working. Like, it's like Selene's been trying to scheme past the dragon gods, like figure out plans to beat them, whereas like Ignia's just at the gym lifting weights, being crazy. So I'm actually really curious to know where this is gonna go. Obviously, Selene is hurt. I win either way. Like, as much as I love Selene, I also love Ignia, but I'm way super intrigued with what's going on with Natsu this chapter. Like, this is something I didn't expect at all. The Igniverse, like, Selene getting caught. I don't know if it's getting caught. She might have just gotten. It's just that kind of like short opening, because it's a little different from getting caught, considering it's like she didn't stand there and just be dumb, or she wasn't just kind of astonished about something, kind of like how she did with Suzaku in her human form. She got caught in that, whereas this is just like, I think Ignia found an opening, because I knew that the second one of them finds an opening, that it was going to be, that's a point where they could overtake the other. Let me see. Do you think Natsu and Lucy will be the strongest at the end of Her's Quest? Not Lucy, but Natsu. Lightning itself smells like ozone as it creates ozone in the atmosphere. But I mean, what does that smell like? Air? Imagine if Lizana actually died and wasn't teleported to Ellis. Lizana's stuff was weird. Rex looking at her tails. BP apparently does not like Natsu. Two annoying flies? What do you mean? I mean, to the dragon gods, Natsu and Suzaku definitely are. Damn it, Natsu got in the way of that fight, though. Not entirely, but he definitely, like, I wonder how long this could have went if he wasn't involved. Like, if he didn't distract him. Man, the PTSD thing. Like, I thought my main focus would be Natsu versus Suzaku in this chapter, but I am very intrigued about the whole PTSD stuff. Because I didn't think that was a plot point Natsu's character would be going down. This potentially, though, could trigger another E&D thing, and that to me is way more interesting. Oh my, I really want... Dang it. Like, Mishima really knew how to take something that I was hyped for, and then spin it something into the bigger hype for me. I know some people probably want to get more of these fights, and I know there's going to be tons of people more hyped on Ignia, which is fine. I figured if one of them got hurt, like, there would be obviously, like, one or the other hyped up, while the other's going to get, like the other, like, Team Ignia is going to be hyped for, like, the next 2 weeks. Regardless of, like, if Selene gets back up or something, Team Ignia is going to be hyped for the next 2 weeks. But similar to, like, Acnology and Zeref, Ignia does have more plot importance. So, like, if it's similar to them, if I had to pick, I'd pick Ignia over Selene. Obviously, I have a personal character bias because I really like Selene, but I do acknowledge, like, Ignia has the potential to be one of Mishima's best villains, and super important to the story. More so than Selene, as much as I like her. It's somewhere like, I like Selene more than Suzaku, but I've mentioned before, like, Suzaku factually is a better character currently, whereas, like, Selene, I just have more of a personal stake in her because I like her. But, like, if you compare the importance of Ignia versus Selene, Ignia is more important for tying back to way more important stuff in the story, like Igdil and stuff. So, not to think about Selene, like about Igdil. I think he's just, like, he sees a dragon similar to Igneel, and it's just like messing with his head. And like that was the last time Natsu saw two dragons fight. I was talking about Suzaku and Natsu, one of the dragon gods, to fight without interruption. Is that too much to ask? I mean, to a degree, but I mean, like, if it makes sense, it makes sense, and I think it makes a lot of sense for Natsu to have like trauma over this. In which, again, it's like I never really talked about the idea of like Natsu having such a negative reaction about seeing them fight, but I'm on board with it because it does a lot for Natsu's character. And I really want to know what Mishima's planning. I legitimately think that he's about to do some E&D stuff. I worry about that. Like, in a good or a bad way. Because, like, both at the same time. Because, I mean, like, Ignia is strong. But, I mean, like, him versus, like, the one that, especially that he fought, Mercephobia. If he does that, it would show that Ignia is stronger. I mean, Mercephobia is a little different because, like, he was pretty much a rampaging animal versus, like, a dragon with intelligence. Because, like, something like this, where, like, Ignia found that opening, I don't think Mercephobia would have the same thing because he's not going to have that battle tact. Whereas, like, Ignia's like, hey, it shouldn't be distracted. Beam shoots right through her chest. All I'll say is, like, I hope Selene doesn't die. I'm fine if Selene takes an L, like, an actual loss. Because, one, it's a character that I think is fine if she loses. Two, it's a character that is more important to her in the story and the lore. And three, it's in a way that could really push the story in a really interesting direction. My only thing I'll say is I don't want her to die. I'm fine with Selene losing, but I don't want her to die. I'll be legitimately upset if she dies. Like, Misaki, I'm fine if... As much as I was interested in Misaki, I was interested in where Misaki could go. I had no stakes in Misaki overall. Other than her design, and she had a cool magic. But there was nothing with her that I already had investment in. Whereas, like, if Mishima threw away Kirin, I'd be sad about it because I actually do like Kirin, and Kirin had a display already that made me interested and enjoyed about his character. Whereas, like, Misaki was at like that cusp where it's like, I want to like her. There's stuff I enjoy about her, but I haven't gotten attached to her. She just has like a cool level at the moment. So, like, if she comes back, hopefully she'll look better. Whereas, like, obviously I have way more stock in Selene. But I think, like I said, Selene just doesn't have the same level of obviously large-scale importance to the story as Ignia does. Ignia obviously is way more important. Way more important. I'm missing the sun element. Well, the thing is, like, he's not the sun. He's a fire dragon. And those are kind of two different things. I think, personally, Natsu's going to be the fire dragon god by the end of it. I think it makes more sense. Because there's also the fact that the dragon gods are all based off the luminary days, and with Dogromag we did have the Earth Day. The only one that's missing is the sun dragon god, which would make more sense with Natsu. Natsu's name literally meaning summer. It, like, the sun dragon, or the sun day, like, literally the luminary days, like Sunday, the Sunday, is the first day of the week. Natsu was the first dragon slayer we ever saw. Technically the first dragon, first information we got in the series about dragons. I think it would make a lot of sense. There's also the fact that, like, evil Natsu would be, like, essentially, like, the idea of, like, a solar eclipse, which is one of the signs of the apocalypse, and I think Mishima's doing some nods at, like, parallels between him and Acnologia. I hope Kira survived. Maybe she was like, I would be surprised if she died. I would be really surprised if Kiria died. That'd be weird. Like, she's not a spot where she would die, but, like, Mishima does have a track record where, like, he doesn't really care too much. Like, if a character, like, he's done with, he'll get rid of, he could kill her off, just from, like, the standpoint is, like, if he doesn't have anything left to do with her, that he might, but I don't think so. But Mishima's been pretty nice to the Dragon Eaters overall, and he hasn't treated them like villains, he's treated them as adversaries. Like, I was reading some chapters, and even in the first time we had Kiria show up, she, like, when she was going to attack that serpent, that, like, you know, the big sea serpent, she told, like, the Fairy Tail members, you know, to pretty much stand back, because I'm about to go crazy. So she was... people that she thought were, you know, that could have been regular civilians, she clearly was, like, saying, like, hey, make sure you don't get killed by this. As little level of care and effort as she put there, it's still something, and we know that none of the Diablos members have actually been evil. Their quarrels have all been with people that they have thought were their enemy. But yeah, this... like I said, like, I was hoping the fight would be longer, but I'm not mad about it, because Mishima did something that I wasn't expecting whatsoever, that I've got way more stake in. Like, Selene versus Ignia, big fight. Really cool. I like the attacks. I like just seeing the melee damage, and, like, just obviously the big characters fighting. And like I said, this was a fight between two equals, where literally the second an opening shows up, it could be decided. Like that's how a lot of these equal fights are. All it really takes is that one character to get that slight edge on the other, and that could be the deciding fight. Another cliffhanger for 2 weeks. I mean, yeah. I mean, are you really surprised about a cliffhanger for 2 weeks? I mean, Mishima does cliffhangers. We know this. A lot of manga do, but we know for a fact Mishima loves to end chapters to leave you in a hype for next week kind of thing. Very rarely does Mishima leave chapters on like a calming note where it's like, all right, things are kind of wrapping up. That's usually just end of fights or end of arcs. Usually, like in the middle of stuff, he'll leave us on a cliffhanger. Mishima loves to create short fight scenes. I don't even say like the fight was short, but it was one of those fights that either was going to be long or going to be short. And the difference between like this fight and Acnologia versus Igneo, we know that Acnologia wasn't going all out, and this was a fight between two people who are fully aware they're equal and were trying to kill each other from the go. What's up? It's a Kamiga Kill Zero UI. I'm assuming that's the name. I see AKG Zero, so I assume it's a Kamiga Kill Zero. Probably the next chapter, some of Celine's sons against Saber. That would be great. I would love that. If Celine's son showed up, or like any of her offspring, I would be so happy. Like, that's a plot point that I've been wanting to get to for a while. If Celine dies, I'm gonna be mad. That's the only thing I don't want. Like I said, Celine losing, I'm fine with. The way that it was set up made sense. I'm never mad if it makes sense, if it's done in a way that is logical. But I'd just be mad if he kills Celine off here. It's because it doesn't feel like a good spot for her to die, and there's a lot of stuff still with Celine that I want to see and find out about her. I don't think she'll die. Because there's like other times where characters have had like moments like this that live. Like Gemma somehow lived. Gemma somehow got out of the guild, grouped up with Tartaros and became a demon, like with a hole in his chest. It's not a guaranteed thing. Plus, we know that dragon bodies are different. Dragons can survive with massive injuries. I think it just depends on, like, is Igneo going to try and finish the job? What's going to happen? Is Celine going to go heal? I would love it if it's like I had a theory that after the Suzaku fight, Celine was going to have to go somewhere to recuperate. Like, what if she went somewhere, like, she went literally, like, under like, either went to the moon, or she went to, like, a lake that is, like, somehow connected to the moon. Like, maybe it absorbs so much moonlight, like, she can absorb it and heal or something. I guess bye then, sure, but see you, dude. If Celine dies, I'm gonna be mad. Yeah, I'm gonna be mad too. Maybe Celine's, you want to be your stepson? I don't know if she's taking stepsons. It's time to introduce some of Celine's sons. I hope so. I want to see some of Celine's offspring. I think, as of right now, some dragon enemies is the logical next step for a lot of the characters. And with the Dragon Eaters potentially, like, Diablos and Fairy Tail potentially joining forces, I think it would make a lot of sense for them to become allies. The only thing, like I said, that I'm wondering about and I'm worried about is Celine's status. I don't think she's going to die, but there's always that kind of, like, worry in there. Like, there's always that worry. Celine is a good villain, yes. I do not think she's better written than Acnologia. Acnologia's backstory in the anime was great. Like, Acnologia's backstory easily put him to me 8.5 out of 10 for sure. Like, he has a lot of really cool stuff with his backstory and how it parallels Natsu. That would be the only thing to me that I'd be bummed about if she does die. Losing, fine with. Guys, any new power-ups for Kaido from One Piece? Oh, like, he's just on fire. Like, his form is literally just on fire. I was hoping for Awakening. I wanted, like, a Godzilla-looking Kaido. Like, Kaido to get twice the size of how he is in his hybrid, but, like, more mass where you get to, like, absurd just buff levels and him just look like a colossal giant. And then maybe, like, instead of by his hand, like, what if he's wielding his Kanabo, both hands and his tail? So, like, he puts his tail strength into it, too. I think that'd be sick. Or maybe, like, he wraps his tail around the Kanabo and then grabs it by his hands. Puts all three of them into it, you know, puts his body weight into it. Whereas, like, this one, it's like he's literally just on fire and, like, running his face into Luffy's attack. Celine's goal is more interesting as a villain than Acnologia. I mean, Acnologia was about genocide. He just wanted to pretty much run everything into nothing. Like, he just was a dude who became what he hated the most. Next chapter will already get a reveal on the soul on her sons, or maybe the King of Souls. That'd be really cool. The king and the Soul's king, the King's soul inside of Kieran's coffin. Yeah, I really am curious about that plot point because it was really weird and out of nowhere. Natsuko Z&D, how do you think he'll get snapped out of it? I mean, the only thing is Lucy. Lucy's the only character I think that can bring him out of it. I do not think anybody else can do it. And part of that is I think Lucy, I think Natsu's got a living magic link to Lucy. Let's see. He's a dragon. What power could he get? Oh, I feel like the only thing Kaido could really get is just like a general buff. Like I said, he gets bigger, physically stronger. I mean, that's all he really needs. I mean, like, Kaido's moveset is, like, pretty much, for the most part, smash things. Like, he is, for the most part, a melee fighter, emphasizing, like, entirely on hitting stuff really hard. Like, he's got a couple elemental attacks, but he's got, like, no real hacks. And he doesn't really have anything too scary to work for. It's just overwhelming brute force and durability, like extreme durability and stamina. Yeah, and stamina too. But I mean, like, stamina's like a One Piece thing. Like tons of One Piece characters have like insane stamina. That's like one of their bread and butter things in the series, if not their most impressive. Thing. I want Guiltina's version of Wizard Saints. What's that gonna do? The Guiltina version of the Wizard Saints. Like, we haven't even seen anything from Guiltina that would like make it seem like they have really powerful wizards. Like, the closest is Diablos, but the thing about the Dragon Eaters is a lot of their power would come from eating dragons, so they wouldn't even be that scary beforehand. So we don't even know if, like, are wizards on this continent generally extremely powerful. The only one logically that you would have that'd be OP is Georg, because Georg had to logically kill a dragon at one point, or he like would have had to get a Lacrima and then get strong enough to kill a dragon. Or maybe he just got lucky. But, like, a lot of the ways that the Diablos members got their power would be essentially, like, is pretty much Georg helping them. And members that are guild helping them kill a dragon, eating them, gaining a lot of their power. Moon is someone connection to water, maybe Mersophobia is her son. I don't think that's the case, because like, I feel like he would have mentioned that at some point. I'm going to put my bet that Selene's son is going to save her, since there's no translation yet, and I'm wondering how Ignia just overpowered Selene. Well, no, I think it's the second one of them was going to have an opening, that could be a deciding factor. That happens a lot in fights between characters who are equal, because it's that split second that can decide the match. That split second where a character can get that killing blow in between two characters that are fighting each other with the intent to kill, that are aware of how powerful the other one is, that know they have to kill the other one the first opportunity. Because, like, there's a big difference between a character who fights and has some crazy kill move, or can kill somebody with a move, versus a character that is planning, like look at Natsu versus Suzaku. Natsu regularly, when he fights people, he's trying to knock them unconscious. He pretty much just wants to beat them until they can't fight anymore. He has ways of killing them, but he doesn't just go for that. Whereas, like, Suzaku is like, the second Suzaku's gonna fight somebody, he's probably gonna try and kill him. He's a swordsman. He's gonna, like, try and slash him to the point where they're gonna bleed out. What's up, Sasuke, Iho? Selene's defense is not that strong. I don't think it's that. I think that it was literally going to be the second one of them got a chance. Like, Selene was smashing into into Ignia, and, like, causing him to spit out blood. And the thing about, like, that would mean her physical strength is enough, and her physical body is that durable. We have East, West, North, Guiltina Continent. South is next. So next villain is Phoenix. Why would the next villain be a Phoenix? The four Dark Dragon Slayer Knights are the ones designed off of the four deities, not the Dragon Gods. The Dragon Gods are designed off the Luminary Days. Atlas Flame might be the Sun Dragon, or maybe the Sun Dragon of the Sun Village. No, he is a Hellfire Dragon. Like, we know exactly what type of dragon Atlas Flame is. He is a Hellfire Dragon. Like, he mentions stuff about his Hellfire all the time. Like, that's been something, like, that we have been given since pretty much his debut. Like, he's also called it Giant's Flame, but he's constantly called it, like, Hellfire and stuff. I wish it was, like, Giant's Flame, and it's, like, he's literally just, like, a bigger fire dragon. I thought that would have been cool. I'm not mad at, obviously, Hellfire Dragon. I mean, that's badass. Man, the whole PTSD thing, though, like, that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I know I wanted to talk about, like, the fight in the chapter, and I really wanted a focus chapter. One else I will say, like, I didn't expect it fully to be, like, just focused on Selene and Ignia, but I'm happy about it. Regardless of which the like legitimately the biggest thing is I want to know what's going on with Natsu. I didn't think this was gonna happen, but I mean, like, it makes sense, but it opens like a new interesting door for his character. The fact that this is still bothering him, this is still something that gets to him, I think is really, really interesting just for where his character can go from here. Because now it's something that he has to get past. It's something that clearly is still troubling him, something that can still affect him and really hurt him as a person. So that's really cool in my opinion. I know it's like, yeah, cool, he's got emotional trauma, but it's like, it's cool from a writing standpoint because it's something that I thought he got over. But it's not something that we like had a direct like, yeah, Natsu got over this, he's done. It's like we never really had tons of insight on it. We know Natsu wasn't nearly as enraged with Acnology anymore, but it was one of those things where it's like he seemed to just really have a moment where it's like, I can't dwell on like revenge, and like I know like not all dragons are evil, I can't just blame him, I can't be consumed by like the same rage. But it's like now it's like just those emotional tie-ins are triggering way more in his, way more like pretty much in his character, in his individual self. It'd be cool if we get humans with Hellfire Dragon Slayer magic. I mean, that's God Serena. I mean, God Serena had that. I think he's trolling since Selena's popular. I don't think he's trolling. I think that he just, right now, he's potentially setting up a bigger thing. Because, like, Igni versus Selena is a big thing, but E&D is a bigger thing. And the thing about E&D that I've... Like, the whole E&D stuff, that since it happened earlier, and, like, Natsu had that fallout where he was really thinking about what was happening, and it really bothered him. Similar to, like, Beta Heaven, those were two plot points with Natsu I really didn't want not to happen again. Like, one thing, there's a small Bleach spoiler for anybody who hasn't read Bleach. I won't go into context, but, like, Ichigo's Vasto Lorde form, you only get once in canon. And, like, that always bothered me. Because it's not like Naruto's like fox forms, like obviously like when he goes enraged, you get that multiple times. Where it's like a rage form once is weird considering it's something obviously tied to his character. But it's like, I feel like something like that should be maybe not like an ongoing problem, but it's something that should occur more than once. If it's something that it's something that could happen to the character, it's something that it's tied into their abilities, and it's something that also is just really interesting and does a lot for the individual. Like, I always really wish we got one more Vasto Lorde Ichigo, or at least, like, if the Hell Arc was canon. Whereas, like, we could get that right now with Natsu. We got the second E&D part, but I think that after that, like, we should get one more for sure. And on top of that, there's a lot more questions with, like, Natsu and that than, like, say, like, Ichigo and his Vasto Lorde thing. Because one is, like, a form of something that we already knew was, like, obviously we knew way more information of for, like, Ichigo and his hollow stuff. We knew about the visors and whatnot. We have more examples of him in hollowification, whereas, like, Natsu's is way more tied to his backstory and, like, a more direct plot kind of thing. Like, Natsu, as with his old theory stuff, is way more crucial plot than Ichigo with his hollow stuff. Like, that's something for Ichigo, but it was never nearly as focused or, like, nearly as large-scale important. I think Phoenix is a villain, hypothetically. I mean, the Phoenix was a villain in Phoenix Priestess, like the movie. Canon. Still pissed me off that Dark Dragon starts to reveal their Dragon Sling attributes. We haven't got them yet. I'm like, that's like the weirdest thing to be, is like Mishima has been teasing him, but he hasn't just said them. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's like the weird thing about a lot of the Dragon Eaters is they don't have attacks like something dragons, something something. Like, a lot of them have had attacks that are just like attack spells that, like, they have their own individual names. Selene dies, we will get more Dragon Eaters. I mean, yeah. I mean, if somebody eats Selene, the only way that I will be happy if Selene dies is if Jalal shows up somehow and literally, like, takes a chomp out of her or something. It'd be really cool if Selene does some teleporting stuff to save herself. My only thing that would make me sad, though, like I said, is Selena's dead. I don't think she's dead. I don't think Mishima's going to throw her away. He seems to like her. But I do think that he is aware, though, that this is something that's more crucial than just a fight. I think a fight literally ending in something that's more valuable to the overall plot is better than it just being a fight chapter that maybe ends with... Like, I'd rather this ending than just a chapter where they have a couple skirmish... Like, they have a couple moves swapped, and then it's like... You know, they're getting heated up and the fight continues. Like, that would be cool, but I think this is more interesting. Because, like I said, I thought we would just get, like, a fight chapter and then maybe see, like, what's going on with the other characters. I didn't think at all you would get, like, stuff that is directly tied to Natsu's backstory, but also could trigger a way crazier event. Like, if he starts to go E&D, like, that's like a scary thing. Because Ignia at least can control himself. Natsu at that point is like a unstoppable monster. The only person that we know can stop him is Lucy. Lucy's the only person that would be able to do anything about him. Like, it'd be cool if somehow, like, Selene healed, and then we got, like, Natsu and, like, E&D Natsu versus Selene and Ignia. But we'll see. Selene, Azure Dragon's booty lady boobs set me on fire. I mean, I am agreeing. I agree. I bet my bet Acnologia is the one inside the coffin. I think so, too, because there's only a couple characters that would make sense, unless Mishima just invents a new character. But it's like, none of them, I think, would really make overall sense except for, like, Acnologia. Because, like, if somehow, like, a character came back, Acnologia is, like, one that I'd be fine with. I want Mark Gear to come back, because logically there are ways for him to come back. But I don't think it would make sense. Like, it would literally just feel like bring him back, whereas, like, Acnologia would have way more lore reasons to. Can non-elementals become Dragon Eaters? Because Lucy's Dragon Eater could be pretty dope. Yes. Well, the thing is, like, when you eat a dragon, it's not like a Lacrima. My belief has always been, like, if you have a element or an ability, you get a Dragon Lacrima, you become a Dragon Slayer of that type. Just because I feel like it makes more sense conveniently than Laxus getting a Lightning Dragon Slayer Lacrima, rather than just getting a Dragon Slayer Lacrima and then becoming a Lightning Dragon Slayer. Whereas, if you eat a dragon, you gain their specific type. You become that Dragon Eater. It's like, instead not to eat Igneal. Like, that's how it would work. Hello, my fellow man of culture, Rax. Well, hello. How does she recover from that attack? Well, we know that dragons don't need a heart. Like, their body can, like, pretty much create can pretty much create organs and stuff to make up for it. So it really is just going to depend on, like, what Selene's capable of after this. Like, Mishima's doing some weird stuff because he introduced this going into the arc. And this is, like, the first time we've seen, like, obviously somebody at this level be this hurt for a dragon, but it's like she could live. There's the obvious fact that she could die. I don't think she's gonna die. It'd be really strange to kill her. Because, like, it would just be like, it would feel like Mishima just got bored of her character and didn't want her around, but I don't think that's the case. Because, like, Mishima has liked Selene and done a lot of fun stuff with Selene. There's also the fact that he treats a lot of female characters better than most. And, like, Selene's the token female out of the Dragon Gods, and I don't think her story is done. There's still stuff with Selene we don't know about her, and, like, obviously the stuff with her children. I don't think she's done. I'm guessing that she's just pretty much hurt, and maybe, like, she's gonna have to leave. I think it'd be funny if it's, like, Selene got hurt out of this arc after it's, like, it looked like she got hurt at the end of the last arc. But, like, I feel like this is something she can't just pretend, she can't just pretend on this one. She's gonna have to recover. Yes, like I said, Jake, I knew that it would literally just take an opening for Selene, for either of them really to get taken down. The second one of them had an opening, I figured one of them was going to hurt each other. And I think logically the one you would want to hype up more is Ignia, because Ignia has more plot reasons to be more important. He has way more reasons to be crucial to the story than Selene. But like I said, Selene taking a hard bit of damage here makes sense, and I'll only be mad about it if she dies. I don't care if she takes a loss, because it wasn't her literally just losing. Natsu played a huge role in fucking up their fight. Like, my boy had, like, the most interesting part about the chapter, but he had, like, in trade of hurting Selene. But I think that could be really useful, because if Selene is hurt and she leaves, then she might not have to be around for E&D, so I mean, like, that could actually be a W for her overall. Like, we could easily get something like a Lucia versus Haru, like, Sacrifice fight coming up, which would be insane. Like, as much as I love Selene, if we get a fight like that concept between Natsu and Ignia, I will lose my fucking mind. Like, Ignia and Selene is one thing, because that's a fight I predicted would happen at some point. Not, like, right now. I figured that, like, a fight like that would happen way later. Like, I didn't even think it was going to happen this early, but it was one of those fights I foresaw would happen at some point. Because it's one of those ones you know is going to happen. Some form of Dragon God clash, because why wouldn't it? Whereas, like, if this fight shifting into Natsu versus Ignia would be way more insane. Do you think Margear could return? I don't think that he's going to. I think he could. The thing is, like, here, I'll give you an easy as hell way he comes back. Nineheart gets out of prison. Nineheart wants revenge, goes up to Natsu, makes a Margear Historia. Somehow Margear then either makes a plant that regrows him or does Hell's Core, grows himself a new body, puts him in there. Bam. Margear, because like Margear and Wall are two characters that if they came back, they could cheat death and come back to life. Like Wall could, because like Wall's a robot. Wall could have legitimately copy his whole brain at that point into like literally like fucking into another machine, into, you know, ones and zeros. Bam, he's alive again. He's a robot. Like he could do that. Whereas like Margear's Hell's Core, like he has a way to pretty much come back to life. Curses aren't magic? No, they're not. They originally curses were connected to magic, but they broke off and became their own power source. Difference is Natsu won't body Ignia like hard. No, if Natsu goes E&D, like Natsu does the same form he fought Merphobia, he is going to thrash Ignia. Like the only way that you could really say that like Ignia wouldn't be thrashed, like if Natsu's not nearly as powerful. Like, if Natsu goes up, like, stronger, but, like, he achieves Dragon God level, yeah, then it would be more of a fight between equals. But if Natsu is anywhere close to where he fought Merphobia, he is going to aggressively maul Ignia. Unless Ignia is stronger than we thought, which is also a possibility. Because, like I've said, the difference between Ignia and the other Dragon Gods is Ignia has been put in the work. Merphobia has been trying to atone for his sins, doing nice guy stuff. Respectable, but obviously that's not getting stronger. Alderaan was getting stronger, but he was doing like a cheat way to do it. Selene was trying to beat the other Dragon Gods through strategy, whereas Ignia's just hitting the gym. He's getting gains. And he still had the horn, and he still had the horn and no horn, the sun symbol inside of his chest. Well, the thing is, he had the sun symbol on his chest in his human form, but in his dragon form, when we saw him, he had like flames on his pecs, and he had that big forehead crystal horn, but now he doesn't have it. I'm not mad about it if it's literally just like a slight design change. Like, Acnologia had a slight design change. I think a lot of people forget about. Like, his horns were slightly different when he first showed up. Ziggy and Ignia love playing dirty. I mean, that's fine. Like, for someone like Ignia and Selene, and I mean, for Ziggy, it was like literally like Ziggy just doesn't give a shit. Whereas like Ignia versus Selene, one of them was gonna have to do it. Like those are fights where it's like, you can try and kill your opponent by any means, or you can try and fight honorably and potentially die. And I don't think Ignia is that guy. Ignia doesn't give a shit about that, which I think makes sense. I hope Gaja will do something. I mean, Gaja will have his fight with Mad Mole, hopefully. Because, like, Gray should have his fight with Skollion. It'll be really weird if Mishima doesn't have a Gray fight with Skollion. Like a rematch. I think Irene's going to play a vital role between Ignia and Selene. I mean, I would hope that she has, like, a vital role. Like, she's obviously, like, a really intriguing character that has a lot of lore and importance. We need a flashback of Dragon God's childhood. Well, the only one that I think would be a child is Ignia. Because, like, we don't really know the age and understanding of Merphobia, Alderaan. Alderaan should have been pretty old. Because, like, Alderaan seemed pretty old, like, even as, like, a dragon. Or, like, a wood dragon at that point. Whereas, like, Ignia, we know Ignia should have been, like, around a child, like, for Dragon. He should have been a young boy. Young dragon boy. Flashback of Alderaan used to feed... I want a flashback where it's, like, Alderaan is, like, 100 years trying to build up the confidence to go fight Acnologia, and he just gets thrashed, like, God Serena did. It's, like, I thought that was just such a funny, yet, like, cool plot point. It's, like, yes, he went to go try and fight Acnologia, but it's, like, 300 years ago. We know Acnologia's genocidal campaign started about 400 years ago. So there's a 100-year gap that he had to have been either hiding or just, like... There's a 100-year gap between Acnologia starting and going to find him. I think logically it's like he would go try and fight him based off of Alderaan's personality and his character. Clearly he also has a very high opinion of himself. I mean, he chooses literally to have a crown in his human form. Do you think Selene's children will have powers? I mean, yeah, the dragons. Do you think Selene teaming up with Fairy Tail to face Ignia, like Fairy Tail is pretty forgiving and can sympathize with her injuries? Maybe. Like, Selene... Selene would have to have a lot of stuff to, like, fix... Like, to put her on a path of good. Because we know that she's not, like, evil.
She's like just fully independent. She does whatever she wants. Whatever is best for her. She's not evil though. She hasn't like she's not fully evil. Like she's a little bit evil. Like if you met her, she would feel, actually like a villain because she's obviously fine ruining worlds for fun. Whereas like Ignia has literally destroyed countries just to flex. I don't know if Selene for a fact would join, but I see it as one of those things as a maybe. Like I wouldn't put my stocks into it, but it's like one of those ones I could see maybe happening. There's noticed Mishima focus on the girls in this arc. I mean, you let Wendy, Urza, and Lucy win their fight. Meanwhile, Gajo and Gray. Well, Gajo and Gray haven't done anything yet. They haven't had their fights. I asked, what do you think their powers are? I don't know. I have no idea. The thing is, like, Selene is... Here's the thing. We only know about one of her kids. Selene is a moon dragon. Her son, Kuranugi, is a sword saint dragon. There's no connection there. There's nothing to guess. Like, they could be anything. We don't know how dragon offspring works. The literal only dragon child that we have that is in any way connected to their parent is Ignia. So sad Alderaan died without even having a chance to show his full power. I mean, he's only 50% when he got defeated. Well, we saw aspects of his full power. We just know that his Godseed form was weakened. Personally, I think logically he wasn't at 50%. I think he would have been weaker when Natsu beat him. Because my guess is like each of the God Seeds would have been like the same fraction of his power, and 3 out of the 4, it's like 3 out of 5 of them, but he was one of them, so like 3 out of 4 were defeated. So I think he was only at like a quarter full strength for his God Seed, at least at that point. I think Merciful will get back his power. Yes, I do. I do think there's something super suspicious about that, because it's like he's not like, it has to either be like a plot reason that he's like that, or it has to be something more towards like Natsu specifically doing it. Because so far 2 characters who have literally had their powers burnt out of their body have both been people fighting Natsu, and both at the point where Natsu's fire is so hot that it destroys his own arms. His ability is so useful for the story, and already confirmed that there's many different worlds for Rachel that she owns one. I think she owns one of those worlds. I think that would make sense. I fully believe that Selene has to have some form of lair to go to. Like, we could easily get real quick. I had the theory that after her fight with Suzaku, that she was going to have to go heal and like go to like her lair, like a den. And I think she logically would have one, not just from being a dragon, but she is a mother dragon. She's a female dragon that is confirmed has had multiple children. So I think she has to have some form of lair somewhere, some form of base. And as the top moon dragon god, I think the most logical thing is that she would have that base in a way that's beneficial to her. Like, again, I imagine like literally like a cave where the moonlight comes down and like there's a lake that absorbs the moonlight, and it's like she can get in there and heal and recuperate. Maybe she's got some eggs there. There's a lot that we can get out of it. If we get something like that, I will be 100% fine with Selene taking an L, because there'd be like multiple ways of lore and important story that we get out of it, and I'd be so much more happy finding more about Selene's children and stuff, and finding more about like the core of her character rather than her just fight. Like I always want to see big battles. I mean, don't get me wrong. I always want to see the big battles, but like more important lore stuff is obviously way bigger for me. Like more stuff that I can talk about. I can only talk about Selene versus Ignia so much, where it's like I can do multiple conversations around the fact Natsu's PTSD is I mean, that's true, Ignia, but Ignia did technically blow her back up. That is a fact. Guys, tell me that any connection between Merciful and the god, Serena's sea dragon. Well, his was like Sea King. What was his exact one? Because I know it was Purgatory, Cavern, Gale, and then what was his other one? Because I think it was literally like Sea King. It was something like that. They were all variants of the element. They weren't like direct. He wasn't using fire, water, lightning. It was well, we know he has some form of lightning. We just don't really know what the type is. We just saw lightning on his hand. One sec, let me pull up the chapter. I think it's chapter 470, Hybrid Theory. Let me see. Actually, something real funny. So for those who know him, Quan Credible, the other day, I was having a conversation. We were talking about like One Piece, and I was like looking for a scene, and I was like, They're like saying like I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like I was taking too long to find something. And I was like, I can't just find stuff in One Piece like I do Fairy Tail. And Quan didn't believe me, and so like 2 hours he would ask me a question of like a part in the series, and I would either get the chapter dead on or I'd be like 2 to 3 chapters off. Like I was always within really close range of where he was gonna, or like when the events happened. What is it? What is the Zek Water one? It is, I think it's like Deluge, right? Or something like that. So yeah, Sea King Dragon. Yeah, it's literally just Sea King. And then like you see the part where he's got lightning on his hand where he was gonna do stuff. Poor dude. I wish that God Serena did more, but I understand. I understand why this man died the way he did. Gale Dragon Boy. I wish Celine will have her own world and her own Spriggan group. She doesn't need her own group. Legitimately, like the few children she has or should have, I think would be more than enough. I don't think it'd be plot armor if she survives. We know for a fact that dragons can, like, their bodies will literally create organs to make up for one's lost. Like, Mishima went into this arc saying that, and I think that it's not a guarantee. I feel like it's logical she would, because we know dragon bodies are different. Not really an L since she got caught off guard. I mean, it's an L, but I mean, like, it's not... It's kind of Natsu's fault. It is kind of Natsu's fault. It's not like an L where it's like Natsu versus Suzaku first round. Natsu didn't take his opponent seriously enough. That was his fault. Or Misaki and Urza. Misaki got caught. She shouldn't have been doing that. She should have taken Urza more seriously, and she shouldn't have been like more astonished by Urza's power, like what she was kind of like starting to push. Whereas like this was because of Natsu. Like Natsu definitely caused this. I wonder what Natsu was saying. I think Natsu's just having PTSD. I think Natsu is literally just having horrendous trauma. Like, I think... Could you imagine Suzaku, and it's like, a few days ago you got your guildmaster murdered because you played into somebody's trap, and then you team up with this guy that you planned to murder, like, that you thought you killed a few days later, and then you team up with him, and it's like you find out one of your enemies is his stepbrother, and then you're like standing there as he's having horrendous PTSD as two godlike characters are fighting. He just be like, dude, I'm having a week. Like, I don't know what to do here. Like, he doesn't get paid enough for this. God's is OP, so sad how Mishima handled it. The thing is, like, I personally, like, God's Ring to be one of the things I would like to change about Alvarez. Like, one of the small things I would absolutely like. I would like to direct. I wish Margear and Minerva ended up being part of the Spriggan. Like, Margear and Minerva get boosted by, like, joining up with Zeref and stuff. You know, stuff that makes them more powerful story-wise. And then I would have loved it if God Serena stayed on their side and maybe, like, teamed up with the Dragon Slayers, maybe gathered them all, trained them for stuff. And then his character did something more. I never get too mad about it because it makes sense. Like, a character, like I said before, it's the same thing with Georg. I liked Georg. I had interest in Georg's character. I thought he was cool. But, factually speaking, the character shouldn't swing that high. You swing that high to a character that doesn't have in it, you're going to get killed. You're going to get killed. Like, sometimes they'll spare you, but sometimes they won't. My OC took Serena Water Dragon. That's actually a pretty cool fanfiction idea. I'm not going to lie. Like, somebody, like, pretty much looting his Lacrima is a pretty cool fanfiction idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. Fanfiction stuff that like takes a plot point and like makes and like spins something no one would expect. I've always thought was cool because that's what I think. It feels more like people writing a story rather than just wanting to like alter the story to their own idea. I remember there was a fanfiction this guy at work that I used, like, there was this dude that I worked with. All he did was read fanfiction. I don't know why. But, I mean, I guess he liked it. He told me once about this Harry Potter fanfiction where it's like slightly different. Like, Harry, like, met somebody who's, like, a muggle in, like, the magic world, but his parents are wizards. And it was like, oh, yeah, the muggles of them, like, they send them to, like, pretty much join the military and give them military training. It's like Harry hung out with this dude. And it's like Harry got buff. And, like, instead of wizard fighting, he would, like, use his invisibility cloak and a knife and, like, assassinate people. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, he was like this spec op wizard military dude, and I thought that was hilarious but cool at the same time. Stuff like that I always find interesting because it's more creative than just like a character making like I'm gonna insert my character that hangs out with these other characters. I think that's actually a pretty interesting idea because that makes sense. There's 8 Dragon Lacrima right there. That's the potential to either make some more OP, like one more OP character, or 8 more Dragon Slayers. I'll give it to you that. It's a good idea. In terms of Bloodlust and Ego, do you think Ignia and Lucia are similar in those aspects? Ignia seems way more bloodthirsty. Like, Lucia had a goal and purpose he thought was good, and like there are a lot of stuff that Lucia did for the good of his plan, and he was crazy. I think he's more of like that unstable area, but like in terms of just like wanting blood, like that's Ignia. The 4-Beast Dragon Slayer Magic Georg entering Georg the bucket before he made to show it off. There's still that theory that he had one of his is like the some form of phoenix, because like the whole design, like one of them is the phoenix, and it's like if he's alive, like he's the only logical other character I could see in the coffin besides Acnologia. It's like the King of Dragon Eaters, what Kieran goes with it, but otherwise my guess is Acnologia. There's a cat doing something about like around the other side of my desk with paper, and I don't know. Let me see. It might be Tartaros. He might be chewing on paper. He has this vendetta against paper for some reason. Let me see. He's causing some form of trouble. Sailor Moon versus Goku. See, I don't know about Sailor Moon, but I know like Sailor Moon's OP. But I know like Goku's gotten like crazy stronger, and like Sailor Moon's been like the same level. I would have to actually have like insight on Sailor Moon. Does Sailor Moon have any hacks, or is Sailor Moon just like kind of like just raw powerful? Waiting for the Nebula Selena stretch. I know. I know stuff that's gonna happen. Like the second a character loses and it's left vague, I know for a fact that people who don't like her are gonna be hating on her. It's whatever. Like it's one of those things. I'm not too mad about it because, like I said, this could give way more of a loving plot point for me. Like, I love Selene. Don't get me wrong. Selena's one of my favorite new characters. I stan her all day. She's like the only fictional female character I would outright say, like, I simp for. I love Selene. I absolutely love everything about her. But I'm for logic. I'm consistent with that. And Selene got in a spot where, not entirely her fault, but at the same time, it's like, one, I knew that the second an opening was there, I knew that logically one of the characters should have taken it. Logically, the same thing. Like if Ignia got hurt, I would have 100% said that. Yeah, I believed that if I didn't even said that before the stream, so I got receipts. But I think it opens up more interesting stuff for the story. As my only thing is, I just don't want Selene to die. I'm fine with Selene taking an L. It's in a logical way. As long as she doesn't die, I'm fine. Sailor Moon is ridiculous hacks. What are they? I don't really know. Ignia played dirty, but I feel it's a Ziggy situation where he wasn't serious enough. I think he was like really enjoying and he was putting in the effort. I don't think it was like that he wasn't trying. I also think Ziggy was trying. I think though that the thing about Ziggy that people act like is not the case. I think Ziggy losing and robotic characters losing is fine as long as, you know, they do the robot thing that they should do. They should like analyze why they lost, weaknesses and aspects, and advance themselves. Like I would love it if the next time we see Ziggy, he upgraded. So I think that makes the most sense. And obviously, like that's the thing that like a robotic character has that a flesh and blood character doesn't have. Like a robot can literally become more powerful. Like Ziggy doesn't even have to like increase his ether. If he just literally said like, oh, you know, my specs in these area, you know, I need to modify them, upgrade, maybe add a couple extra components. Like maybe he's got like some other weapon that he wants to instill into his robotics arm. Like. What if, like, he gets, it's like a hydraulic laser arm or something fucking crazy, and that just makes him stronger by default. I believe it. I think that makes sense. Wasn't, but still, wasn't for Natsu, I swear. Logically so. Like I said, if it makes sense, it makes sense. And as much as I was hyped for this chapter, I'm not gonna lie. The stuff with Natsu in the chapter with, like, the PTSD, I'm so intrigued by that. But not only that, where it's gonna follow up. Like, if Natsu has some form of... Like, this should trigger some form of large, like, power reaction. I was thinking about it. Think about the first time Natsu goes Dragon Force. That's when he thinks something obviously really bad happened to Greg. Greg really hurt, and he got pissed. This is something way worse. Like, Natsu is, like, legitimately having PTSD. Like, this isn't, like, him just being upset. This is, like, literally him having flashbacks, like some dude in WW2 who just heard some fireworks, like, on the 4th of July, and he's, like, murdering squirrels with his bare hands. All our other abilities that Akinogi gets after eating the time rift. Well, he got space time magic. I mean, like one thing that is overlooked is when he went into the dimension, because the dimension was nothing. But when they went after Akinogi took over, there's matter there. Like he literally creates things in the dimension. All that crystal. There's like shooting stars behind him. Like he literally created mass and like a dimension and gave it form. Oh, my cats are doing something out there. I got a slightly bigger bed. I finally upgraded like I've been wanting to a king size bed, and my cat Pandora is so happy about it. She's been mad there hasn't been room on my bed for her to sleep on, and she's been having a happy day since. She joined the stream though. She's like the only one that's been here the whole time. Can you meow for the stream? Give me one meow. Come on. I need Tartarus. I know Tartarus will do it. But he's there. I don't know where he's at. Pandora's not meowing for me. He's just rolling around. I had to move my fucking keyboard because she kept rolling on top of it. Sailor Moon can disintegrate people to the atomic level. I mean, that's pretty hacks. Atomic hacks is broken. What do you think we get a conversation with, and reason with more between Igni and July? Wait, what? A conversation reason with more... Oh, do you mean... I thought you meant, like, Celine and Drac and Joe's character. I'm like, what? That, to me, like, legitimately the weirdest thing to me, like, Eden Zero that I personally think would be a missed opportunity for Mishima if he doesn't do it, is more insight on Drac and Joe. Like, I figured we would at some point... Like, my brain, like, think the most logical thing, and I made these estimations when the chapters were coming out, is that at some point they would run into like a similar kind of situation with Wise, where they're like in the past and they meet a younger Drac and Joe, and Shiki would save him from going down that pathway, and we would get an alternate Drac and Joe who's a good guy. I think the problem would be like his ether gear is so broken that it'd be really hard to work a story around him being there. I think that's the only thing it'd be kind of hard, like if you give a member of the main cast that broken of a power. Or like, but I mean, the same thing, he could literally just be an ally. Like maybe like Shiki, instead of Drac and Joe joining the crew, what if it's like, oh, he does something that like butterfly effect, Drac and Joe doesn't go down that dark pathway, and then the current one is instead like, you know, what world are they in? What's because it's what, Universe 2 and then like different world. I don't remember the exact numbers. But you know what I'm talking about, like the different world variant that they're in, where it's like, oh well, the Drac and Joe in this, like in the future at this point now, like they do maybe a new timeline, and because of that, like Drac and Joe is nicer, where it's like he's just a better guy now, maybe he's a little bit more fixed, maybe he becomes an ally. He doesn't join the crew, but it's somebody that they could be friends with. I was hoping that more for Laguna, but like Laguna joined the crew, oddly enough, and the Mishima has done some stuff with him, but like if I had to trade off, I'd pick Drac and Joe. But at the same time, it's like, poor Drac and Joe, like, he hasn't come back. Like, I don't know why Mishima, like, introduced some really intriguing stuff, obviously, like, where he wanted to be, like, a nicer guy and, like, gain friends and go have fun and, like, live life. And then he became, like, a monster somewhere around the line, like, life-draining people so he can be pseudo-immortal. I would love to get some more conversations with him. Like, Drac and Joe, though, is probably my favorite Eden Zero. But like, Sure is really cool, but Drac and Joe just has a different vibe to him. Like, Drac and Joe was just he was a whole menace. Like, just let me rephrase that. I'd say that Shura felt more like a Shiki boss, where it's like Drac and Joe felt more like a raid boss, where it's like there should have been more of the group fight. Like, I figured Drac and Joe would have been that kind of like Hades or Doryu fight from Rave Master, but in Eden Zero, you know, it's gonna take pretty much the whole main cast to defeat him. Where it's like, we don't have anything right now with Eden Zero yet. I'm really hoping we at least get that though. That's like one of my big things I've been wanting in the series. There's definitely some rougher stuff that Mishima would have to do, because it's like Rebecca alone, like in the fight, would be kind of hard to do, just because of her time reversal. Has she said that, like, whether or not she's had an upgrade to where she can use her reversal more times a day? Because she's got, what is it, 2 or 3? I don't remember the exact number. But like, it's obviously useful in battle, but it's like Mishima would have to get like really. He would have to really pick and choose like the best times to do it, because obviously that can make a lot of saves, but it's like you can't overdo it. It's Rebecca's biggest thing, so why would she not do it? but it would be really weird in the fight. Like you would have to, like you would also have to make sure to get it out of the way between, I'd say like between the start to like halfway to maybe like 2/3 into the fight, to where like once we get into that final stretch, we don't have the fact Rebecca can just do a fix. Loki hoping that Selene died so we can get more Dragoners. I don't want that. I don't want Selene to die. The only way that I will be happy if Selene dies is if for some reason Jalal shows up and like eats part of her. We could get a part where it's like she has like a piece of piece of her is missing. Maybe she does something to summon more people, and then Jalal somehow eats a part. I don't know. I'm still hoping at some point to get that Dragon Slayer Jalal. Laxus could have a new form by taking the gas from Kieran. I don't think it's going to happen. If he's going to get a new form, it should be like actual Dragon Force instead of some variant. I don't think that he should get a variant, another one rather. He just got one. And the logical next step from his actual Dragon Force. She's a terrible person, but I kind of feel bad for her. The thing is, like, she's a terrible person, but she's not at that point where I think she's irredeemable. I don't think Selene is at that point where it's like you can't just bring her back and make her... and like put her on a pathway to redemption. It'd be really hard to do with like another big characters like there are ways that you can do it, because like Merce Phobia also used to murder people all the time, but he's since then decided he was going to be more like allied with humans and help them. So it's like he obviously like is obviously like he hasn't forgiven himself, but he's working down that pathway to do better. Where it's like Selene and Selene's is bad, but it's not Acnologia, where he's just been literally like genocide man for fun, or Igni, who's been melting countries for chuckles. Is it possible for Selene to team up with Irene? I don't think so. The thing is, like, it would depend, because like Selene might actually have been fine with Acnologia based off of like what we're getting with the whole like her seemingly more fondness of humans, and fine, like pretty much fine with the ending of all dragons except for herself. So like there is that possibility that she was fine with Acnologia. If that is the case, then maybe she would be friends with Irene. But like there's nothing right now to really kind of go off of interaction wise. I could see it, but right now it's like in that weird spot where it's like we would have to have more context. We can't just have like Irene somehow gets a body, talks to Selene and their buddies. I think there would have to be some form of setup to like we know, like say we know, like we get the backstory, and then it's like maybe there's some reason Selene was happy that the dragons were all gone. Maybe like they were very cruel to her because of like she was at one point sided with the humans. Existence raised her, reality warping. Yeah, it sounds like Sailor Moon's broken. She doesn't care her dimension gets ruined, but she doesn't straight up kill people. Like I said, yeah, she's bad, but she's not past that point where it's like no going back. She's beyond redemption. Well, like, I think Acnologia, like if he would have to come back and then like be like have that moment of clarity where he kind of sees all his wrongdoings, and he's just like more in like a part of like I need to kind of figure out what to do with my life and figure out how where exactly I can go from here, instead of like just straight up like coming back to be like a crazy madman. Whereas like someone like Igni has like been doing it for fun, for no real reason other than to do it. Iron Selene gets healed by Irene Wendy. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know why Wendy would want to heal her. I think it's something that Selene would have to do. I would say though, like if one of Selene's children showed up and it is some form of like sky related dragon that can heal, I would love that. A healer dragon, that'd be pretty cool. I would love that. I think that'd be really cool. But we do know that like that Selene as a dragon, like her body is different. Like her body would literally create organs to make up for the ones missing. Because I feel like Mishima just didn't drop that line in there or drop that plot point in there for dragons to do nothing with it and then have a chapter like this. I think we could get Gravity Dragon Slayer magic. I mean, that'd be cool, but I don't really know what that's going to really do. I mean, it'd pretty much just be Blue Note. Actually, now that I think about it, if we didn't get to use Elefsir's Heart, she has access to many different dimensions and different uses. I mean, yeah, but it's like, where is she going to go for sure? I feel like she has to go heal. What else anime do you watch? I'm more of a manga guy. There are some anime that I've watched. Like I haven't watched anything new recently, because like a lot of new stuff is like isekais, and like people have been hyping up like stuff that's more more kind of like slice of life. I'm not a huge slice of life guy. Like I know Spike's family is like the big hype right now, but it's like I'm not a slice of life guy. The next anime I am hyped for beyond belief is Chainsaw Man. I'm so hyped for Chainsaw Man. Wait. Fairy Tail Arasion Seis versus Eden Zero Arasion Seis? I mean, we need to know the rest of the Arasion Seis. Well, are you going to count both sides of the Arasion Seis and Eden Zero? Because it's like the Arasion Seis have some good hacks and I'd say better scaling, but like they have like better like individual hacks, but the fact that like, you put all of the Galactica and Interstellar in there, they have numbers hacks, and on top of that, they have numbers. So I think that if you, based off of what we have right now, I would probably give it to the, like, assuming it's the Galactica and Interstellar, I'd probably give it to them. I think they would probably win. I was like, you have some pretty good hacks over on the side of them. I think one of the only things actually that I would say could be a really big. Oh, hang on a second, my cat got her claw stuck. Hang on. I got you. Stop. There you go. She got her claw stuck on a fucking, on like the blinds, like one of the like little ropes between them, and like got her claw hooked on there and was gonna fucking pull the whole thing down. Hey, what are you doing up there? My cats keep getting into my fish tank to drink water and it's annoying. But I can't stop them from literally like when I'm not doing stuff. But ouch, I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Gendora. Oh, I was gonna say the thing though that would be I could see a deciding factor in favor of the Fairy Tail Arasion Seis is they're like an actual team. So like they would work together, whereas I don't see the Eden Zero ones working together. But like I said, they have way better numbers and total hacks. Like the thing that I would worry about is like some of them aren't that good, but they're useful. Like Eraser has his broken ability, but it's like the second that's over, then he's gonna get himself killed. And like someone like Holy would or not Holy, Feather would just be like useful, but like she'd be easy to kill. I mean, she's kind of she's just like a support person. She's like the weirdest member because like she was like, it's like a good power, but it's like what is she really? She buffs up like fodder. You think like every time I think about chapters, like why didn't she bring like competent people? Like if her whole thing is she's like a really good support person, you think that she would have better forces. Because it's like is her value literally just buffing, but like not having anyone relevant to buff? That would suck. I hope like, but I feel like in a fight, like she's gonna be the only one that's gonna really. She's gonna be the only one that I think that would be really like team beneficial for the Eden Zero side, because I mean that would just be a really good general buff, giving people future sight. I mean, but you have somebody like Cobra and Racer who would be messing with that as well with their abilities. But like I said, I would lean more towards the Eden Zero side just based off of larger numbers and more hacks to use. Celine going down before Kaido. I don't think she's going down. I think she's hurt and like gonna be damaged. Where it's like Kaido, I think Kaido is about to be done as like a bad guy. Like his full arc is gonna be over. Whereas like, I think Celine is injured and gonna be hurt and need to recover. I think Irene's new vessel is gonna be Misaki. That'd be weird. I don't know about that. I would rather her just make a body somehow. Like maybe we have like if we had literally the personality version, the persona one that Haku makes, like use magic and pretty much alter her form. Mishima can do what Tabata did with Vanessa with her fate powers, save her friends multiple times and guarantee victory like against Dante. I know, that's what I'm saying though. Like you would have to get that out of the way, but it's like the difference between Rebecca and Vanessa is Rebecca is way more of a spotlight direct focused character, because Vanessa at the end of the day, even though she's one of the Black Bulls, she's not the female lead. That's Noelle, whereas Rebecca is the female lead. And I think Rebecca's biggest value right now is her time reversal. Like Mishima, I think needs to give her something new. Like I would love it if she had something like, I'm trying to think, like maybe she did something like with like what Racer can do, and like she did like an AoE slowdown of time in the area, like something like that would be like a support move. I think that would be really good for Rebecca. Because Rebecca, I don't think she's ever going to be the fighter that like Lucy's become, but I think she could be a better support person. I think she could kind of be like a mix between Lucy and Wendy, to where like imagine anytime they got in a group fight and Rebecca's like, bam, I just made the enemy slower. I just AoE'd, made the zone so like any enemies within my ether are slower. I think that would be a great ability. Or she could give people buffs by imping their speed. Stuff like that I think would be the best thing for her. Because like as of right now, like Mishima would have to give her some really broken attacks to make her more relevant offensively, but I feel like that's not what he should focus on. Because Rebecca's like, she got her, obviously her speed and like her marksmanship, but I think her biggest value, like if she became like the Eden Zero equivalent to Feather, but obviously like she's got people of value to buff. Like she's not like, hey, I'm gonna go attack these guys, I'm gonna bring garbage and then give them future sight and then be surprised they get trashed. Be like, Feather, what are you doing? Bring some relevant people. Bring somebody that like actually buffed is gonna fight. Like Shiki, I understand because like they should be on the same level, and then an offensive person is gonna be obviously way more dangerous than a support person at that tier. But it's like you think she would have brought people that at least would be able to be on par with the other members of the Eden Zero, because like they're stronger than like your average person, but they're not so strong that you couldn't like pretty much just bring in some people with a buff from a interstellar level person and be equal to like Wise or Hamura. Maybe not like equal, but at least enough to give him a fight. Whereas like Feather literally just brought nameless fodder that like all looked goofy and didn't even have good designs. She like probably like I'll be fine, and it's just like you can see in the future and do like future sight stuff and like locating powers and stuff, but you couldn't even see your own the own obvious outcome. It's like in One Piece, like when they sent people to go arrest Mihawk and they sent fodder. It's like, why? What are you doing? You sent those guys to die. And it's like they're lucky that Shiki isn't going to be murdering people. Like if the Eden Zero crew was more like fine with killing their enemies, like all those dudes would be dead, because it's like you're sending in fodder pretty much to die. Like I remember when the freaking when Jaguar fought those dudes, like, and he just murked all of them. It's like, yeah, why? Like the second you fight somebody like out of your league that doesn't give a shit about killing you, you're going to die. Slink can use flame magic. I mean, she's like, it's Moonfire though. It's like one of those things where it is moon related, but it branches out into another attribute. I think Cobra would do something in Hunter's West? Maybe. I mean, that's like the hardest maybe. Like Cobra, I could see Sting and Rogue, and Mishima did say Sting and Rogue were going to show up at some point, but I mean, Cobra would be weird, but it's like, is every Dragon Slayer to that main 7 except for Cobra going to be involved? Maybe, but I mean, like, it'd be easy for him, like Mishima, just to have Cobra show up, bam, Celine teleports the man in. Rebecca is more broken than Lucy. No, she's not. Here's the thing. The only thing that people think about when it comes to Rebecca's abilities is her type reversal. Factually, it's a broken ability, but Lucy has way more broken abilities. Lucy with Gemini, and now her Aquarius Gemini Stardress mix is so broken because it means she can make copies of people from memory. Not from the fact like Gemini can hold 2 people copied at once. From memory. Meaning anybody that Lucy has the capability of meeting that criteria of being equal to or greater than, at that point, she can use their magic. Anybody weaker than Lucy right now that she has ran into and seen their magic before, she can use it through Gemini and the Gemini and Aquarius Stardress. She literally has a way to cheat and get almost any ability. Like, Lucy is absurdly more broken. Like, it's not even close. On top of that, she has stuff like an autosave. She has Ares' Wool, which by itself is a hack. Like, it could drain your will to fight and just make you pretty much surrender. Gemini by itself is really broken. Like, she has a lot of really strong moves. I mean, like, here's the thing, like, that is, Lucy's never done it, but it's a move she could do. She could literally summon a spirit, have one of them grab her opponent, bam, take him to the Celestial Spirit World if she wanted to. Just take him and leave. Slinking, there's one. A moon-based flame is weaker than Igneous. I mean, yeah, but it's like a moon variant that also is flame. It's not outright fire. You're not going to use a variant to fight an original of this literally the same level of power as a person. Think we can get person with Atlas magic? Do you mean Atlas Flames magic or just Atlas magic? Do you like Atlas the mythological character? Wouldn't that just be like a better, like a mega version of Makarov? Also, Selena's kind of a villain that can be reasoned with. Yes, she's in that area where there's room for her to be an ally. It's not like it's obviously way more leaning towards no right now, but it's enough that we could, like, I think logically there could be a way to write her as an ally, whereas like redeeming, like some form of redemption to a degree story with her, or at least enough to kind of like be like, okay, we can work together, whereas Ignia, no, Ignia's too far. Read the hero MC is busted. Yeah, we don't talk about that guy here. Honestly, see the backstory so we can see who the fuck the lucky dragon is who banged her. I mean, I assume multiple dragons because we know like there's just a mating season, and the dragons aren't like hooked up through like a dragon equivalent of marriage. They just seem to have a mating season. The males impregnate the females that they decide to hook up with, and then the males leave. You think Wendy Laxus Cobra Row could eat one of the Dragon God elements and become a 2-element? No. So the thing about the hybrid modes is every single time we've ever had a hybrid mode, it is from a Dragon Slayer eating an element from somebody with a Lacrima. Because the Lacrima is transferable, and it's been consistent every time that we've had an occurrence with it. It's one of the things I wish you would just tell us, but every time we've ever gotten anything with the Lacrima, it's been... Or anytime we've ever gotten anything with a hybrid, it's been with a Lacrima. Also, real quick, just because I haven't shielded in a bit, anybody who feels like it, thumbs up the stream. We got 34 people or 26 likes. I'd really appreciate a couple more. If you feel like donating to the stream, that'd be great. You don't have to. Or if you want to become a member, I've got 2 tiers, only $1 and a $2 one, and there are perks that come along with it. Currently a couple perks. There's going to be more stuff coming along. There should be emojis. There is one at least, I know. I do have like the Smug Natsu one. Jason, can you use the Smug Natsu one? I don't know where the option is. I don't know if it's in there, if it's like a channel user emojis. Yeah, actually I can use it. Hang on. This is the one that you get. I'm going to add more. I just got to figure out how to make them the right 1-to-1 ratio for YouTube. This is the one you get just from like default joining. You get Smug Natsu. There's a couple more I wanted to do an Ignia and Selene one, and I forgot to do it for this chapter, which is fine. We're gonna do some Ignia and E&D ones apparently for next week, or I guess next 2 weeks. How many chapters do you think this arc will last? It's gonna depend. I kind of want this arc to kind of like move towards the end, and then we kind of move in a point where we would get a kind of calming point between the Diablos and Fairy Tail. I think it'd be really cool at that point, because then it's like we could have, because Kieran versus Laxus, I think will exist fine on a personal rivalry status where it doesn't have to be we're enemies, we're gonna fight. I feel like even if they resolve, they would still want to fight each other. Kieran clearly likes Laxus and has interest in him, and I think Misaki would logically want to have a rematch with Urza. Because like when you compare Misaki and Urza, even like at the levels, Urza was only taking up a chunk of her dimension by affecting it. If Urza was outright more powerful than her, fully in total at that point, Urza's magic would have taken over the whole dimension. She would have completely overridden her. Whereas like it was starting to, Misaki just was shocked and got caught, and sometimes you can get caught and attacked and take you out. That's just how it is. We just don't even know if she's fully defeated. That's like a weird spot with her. Regardless if she is, I could easily see next time we see her wanting to have that rematch with Urza. Oh, I gotta close down the frickin'... No, crap. I accidentally hit the chat. Hey, 1 sec, guys. Show chat. I wanted to, like, minimize the frickin' emoji. Yeah, there you go. And, like, I'm gonna add more of the badges. The only reason that it's, like, the gold Bidoof is, like, I wanted a starter thing, but I needed something because, like, I think it's annoying that Twitter doesn't auto-resize it. Like, it wants a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's like, I have to figure out how to do that. And then, like, the Smug Natsu and the Bidoof badge were the only things that I had that, like, I felt like putting... The only things that I tried that worked. Because, like, I wasn't going to just use completely random things. I feel like the Golden Bidoof is enough that it's a nice little entry. It's funny, but it's not crazy, but it does give you a nice little sign as a new guy. Whereas, like, the Smug Natsu, I think is funny. I'll put some more in there. There's a couple. I want a Margear emoji. I have one, but it's not the right size. Ignite clapping her cheeks. I mean, yeah, you definitely got the win on that one. Or is it a different fight you guys are talking about? Let me see. Oh, the healing guy from Redo the Healer. I tried Redo the Healer. It's a little bit too much. Like, it's a little bit too much. It's one of those ones where it's just like, it's not one of those like darker series where it has like, oh yeah, it's a dark series with like lots of aggressive sexual content in it. That's like the whole theme and the whole plot. And I'm just like, it's a bit too much. Like, waiting, like, I watched the first couple episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes, and it's like the show couldn't even go like 2 to 3 minutes without some horrendous sexual scene. And I'm just like, this dude needs to calm down. Like, 1 or 2 per episode is one thing, but I'm watching like 5 horrendous scenes like per episode, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Because I went into it like, oh, cool, a bad guy, like a really bad guy out for revenge is the main character. That's interesting. And then it's like, okay, it has some graphic stuff. Okay, you know, that's not too much for me, but it's like, is this the whole show? Is this the whole show? I mean, some people are into that, not me. What do you think Natsu and Ini tattoo appearing on him, like Akinogi and Igni have tattoos? I mean, Natsu's aren't tattoos though. Like, it'll be like a physical alter because like it actually has to do with like, it should be like a direct change in like how his body is made up. I mean, Jalal doesn't have to eat Celine. I think my hopes is that at some point there is a fight where, like, if it's not Celine, like one of her kids, and like he gains their abilities somehow. Like, obviously, like maybe a fight, a finger gets cut off or something, eats a finger or whatever, and ends up becoming a Dragon Eater. I've had this Dragon Eater Jalal theory for a while, and I'm sitting on it. I could be wrong, but you know what? I'm not going to give up on it until it's over. Cat's want me to stream? I mean, she's usually around when I stream. There's a lot of my videos that if you wait in the last second, she will wait until I say bye, and that split second between ending the recording and me talking, you will hear her meow, because she will politely wait until that last minute when she thinks I'm done, and then like try and tell me something. The reason I watched it was for the action and less for the slice of life. Oh, are you talking about Spy X Family or something? What series are you talking about? Does it? I mean, but like the characters are human, aren't they? Like, it's not a battle shonen. I've only like read the first few chapters, so I don't really know. Or is it like, was it Sakamoto days where there's just like peak human people and they're like have like assassin moves? The only thing I would worry about is like when I read it and then it's like you have those life-threatening crazy injuries and stuff, but it's like these characters are human but they somehow live. Different when there's like characters with fictional powers and whatnot, but like when somebody like from a human standpoint, plain human, just kind of buff series, lives from something, like it feels weird. Like in the newest My Hero, not the newest, was it might have been the newest, 1 or 2 chapters ago, My Hero, when Todoroki gets slammed into that building. Like, he has no defensive boosting abilities, so it's like, how is his body that durable? Because like people in My Hero can get hurt by bullets because like it's way more like X-Men in a lot of ways, where like it's a power to power thing where it's like it doesn't have the same baseline like durability, physical strength, offensive power like a lot of these other battle shonens have. So it's like it's just kind of strange to see a character survive that. It's like that has no real durability boosting. Unless I missed something. I don't think he iced like the wall or something behind him. I think he just straight took the full force. What if she has a time attack, like sending people forward in time? That's too much. Because like if Lucy, if Rebecca can do that, how do you beat her? How would anybody be a threat if she can just pretty much Aku somebody into the future? That's my whole thing of like why I don't like the clock theory in Black Clover, because you got to be careful with time stuff. Time stuff is dangerous. Mishima, obviously Eden Zero is different because like I trust Mishima with time stuff because Mishima has tons of experience with time stuff. When I only get worried about time things when somebody who doesn't have a track record with time shenanigans starts doing time shenanigans, because time travel is one of the fastest and the easiest ways you can break a story, no problem. Versus like Mishima and a lot of other time people, like I know Doctor Who as well is a good example of like they do time stuff all the time, so you have to establish rules, limitations, and stuff that grounds it, so you can't just time travel fix every problem, or time travel isn't the solution. Because like if you just introduce time travel, like that's one of my problems with like stuff in like Marvel, like the MCU movies. It's like, why don't you just if you can time travel, why don't you just time travel fix all the problems? If time travel can fix any issue, just time travel fix stuff. Nobody should be able to ever really lose or die if you can time travel in some way, reverse time and fix it. It's like the time travel thing in like Black Clover. If Lucius can casually reverse time and he can see in the future, how does anybody beat him? He would know anybody who's coming, and he'd be able to reverse time. Like you could have like a whole part where they do like a whole setup to go attack him. He gets in a bad spot. Oh, I foresaw it. Reverses time. Now I know everything you guys are gonna do. Bam. I don't want the time travel thing. Like Tabata would have to do a lot of limitations to keep it grounded. Like maybe he has to do something. It's not a combat thing. It's a utility move that he can't do in combat. And it's like maybe he can only reverse time a handful of seconds, or like he can only affect like a minute or something within time, and he can just kind of like hold that out in like various ways. There has to be specifics for it. Just because, like, if Tabata goes too crazy, it could really hurt the story. And I feel like a lot of people don't. Like, a lot of people are more held up on the idea of, obviously, like, him being that crazy OP. But it's like, you don't want that. You do not want a Yuha box situation. And I love Bleach. But it's like, Kubo factually made a guy too powerful with no way to beat him. And because of that, he had to invent a way to do it. And Tabata would have to either invent a new way to beat him, or he would just have to pretty much anti-magic fix all his problems. And I don't want that. Obviously, Asta's the main character. I feel like him being Lucius in the end makes sense. But I don't want it to literally just be like, oh, you have a problem. He has like some crazy OP thing. Anti-magic, done. It's gone. Because then it's just like, what's the point of that crazy broken thing if all it's going to take is anti-magic fix? But at the same time, if he can reverse time itself, anti-magic's not going to do anything. Asta could, like, try and get close and do an anti-magic thing, mess with his magic at a direct level, but it's like all he would have want a future sight, and all he has to do is stay away from him. All he would have to do is stay away from him, and he would know beforehand Asta was coming in. That's kind of like one of my, like, I don't know. I just get agitated when people get too crazy with like wanting time stuff, because like I said, time stuff can ruin a story. Time stuff can easily ruin a story. Said that the power she could change the universe, definitely gonna be super powerful. I agree with that, but I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be too much. I think the way that like her large scale time reversal and like how Cat Leaper works, yes, because it works different outside of combat, but also in combat, I think the best way Rebecca could really be beneficial is being essentially like a support person, like again, like Feather. Like if she could slow enemies with time abilities, speed up her opponents. Like if she could do something kind of like Julius, where she can use time abilities to like fix a wound. Like maybe she breaks like an arm, time reverses the bone back, stuff like that. Or somebody like maybe Shiki breaks a leg, time reverses, fix that. I could see that. I think her biggest value, without becoming too problematic, would be in utility. Because we already have a lot of fighters in the Eden Zero, but we don't have a lot of utility characters. The closest is Sister. And the thing about like Sister is, as long as she's the only healer, I don't think that Mishima is gonna, I think she's pretty much got a plot reason to stay alive. Hermit, I just don't want Hermit to die. Whereas like, I wouldn't mind as much Sister, but I feel like if Mishima killed off Sister, it'd be weird, because it's like, well, now they don't have a healer. They don't have any way to fix things. So it's like, would Rebecca might have to become their pseudo healer. Or maybe she would have to get into a spot where she could, again, just do cheat ways to heal. But again, that utility, being able to do like a speed buff while but while also putting a debuff on your opponent, I think would be really cool. And it'd be super beneficial. Could humans get cursed? Yes, humans can get curses. Like Gray uses curse power. Gray's a Devil Slayer, so like it's a magic that is also a curse. Rave Safe definitely won't stand a chance. I mean, yeah, but like the Rave Master or Astion 6 were not nearly as powerful as like a lot of these other ones. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Burial is fodder. Like they had their biggest thing is obviously Haja. Like Haja is dangerous, but I mean like Haja can get hacked out of the situation. Like he's busted, but he's not at a point where it's like he's too crazy to be defeated. He's OP, but I mean like Genesis Zero or like Eraser would be fine, like just getting rid of him. Go join. Yes, Jason says go join my membership. I would appreciate it. Anybody wants to throw? Like I said, it's $1 for the first one and $2 for the second one. The first one is for you get priority. That's one thing I mentioned. You get priority messages, so I can see members' messages in like my videos. So if you posted a video, like if you went to one of my videos and really wanted to ask me a question, if you are at least the $1 tier, I'd be able to see your comment out of all the comments because it prioritizes showing the members. So I'd be able to see yours easier. And then the second one, the biggest one I'd say is definitely the poll voting, because like I'm gonna do votes every week, polls where it's like, okay, here's a theme, here's what we're gonna talk about, pick which one you want. The one right now is a character one, and the 4 characters to pick are Ultir, Jura, Jackal, and Wall. So whoever wins that, right now it's Ultir. Ultir's winning with 2/3 of the vote. We talk about Ultir if she wins, and that'll be it. I feel like though if somebody joins, they're gonna pick Ultir anyway, because I mean like everybody loves Ultir. Dead End Crow is 420 meters tall, so how tall is it compared to Celestial Spirit King? I mean, Celestial Spirit King is like, I'd say maybe like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, because he's big, but he's not 420 meters. Like, he's maybe like 20, 25 is my guess off the top of my head. Ikusa Tsunagi, though, is bigger. Ikusa Tsunagi is like 2 kilometers tall. Like, he's huge. Dragon Gods versus Irene, I mean, yeah, just way more powerful. Irene's gonna do something, but not direct fight. I could see that. Lucy and Rebecca are both physical, stronger than Ellie. Well, Ellie's not a fighter. Ellie is full glass cannon. She has no combat skills, just large blast in a general direction. Her enchants are gonna interfere with stuff. I mean, that's the thing. Like, she's a utility person that's still valuable. But Atlas Magic, I mean, stuff like that with Atlas Flame. I don't think we need one. I mean, God Serena is pretty close to what we got. I don't think Sling got gangbang. I think at some point, like, she probably just had multiple different mating seasons with different partners over the years. Because, like, dragons, like I said, dragons don't seem to have any concept of marriage or anything like that. They just seem to have, like, they pick a mate, do the nasty, and then they part ways. The female raises the dragon babies. My Sea King Dragon Slayer can eat poison Dragon Slayer magic. That'd be cool. Poisonous waters. I mean, that's pretty much like, you'd be like Tempesta. Not Tempesta, sorry. Torafuza. Getting angry when the daughters get hurt by Ignia. I mean, that'd be cool. I really want to see, like, her children. That's been one of my hopes for a while. Caught up with Fortnite. Seems like Personal Magic is a full arsenal. I mean, for the most part, he's pretty much like a lantern. He's like a Green Lantern. But he's got that whole life drain thing. Seems pretty OP on paper. EOS Percival is going to be pretty nutty. Yeah, he should be way more powerful than Meliodas by the end. Disappointed in the fight, hoping Sling can take revenge. I mean, the fight was... It seems like Mishima... One, I will say, like, the full focus fight, I'm happy with, because I didn't think we would get a full focus fight. But at the same time, it seems more like Mishima is... I think, personally, Mishima's doing this more... Way less of, like, Ignia versus Selene, and more so setting up, like, Ignia versus E&D. Like, that to me, is more of what I took out of this chapter. I think that's more logically where things are going to be going. And like I said, Selene just didn't get overpowered. Selene got that opening taken, and I knew the second one of them was going to see that opening, that could be the deciding factor of the fight. The only thing that I will say, like I mentioned, if Selene is dead, then I would be upset. No way she's going to meet Ignia. I don't think that's the case, because like she was doing damage to Ignia. I think Ignia versus Selene was going to come down to whichever one was going to catch the other one pretty much in an opening. They were going to look for that split second of when they could attack and be at a point where they can do stuff. My guess is that Selene had some form of hesitation because of Natsu obviously having, like, my belief is, like, there was something that happened, obviously, like mentioning of Igneal, maybe Selene knew Igneal, or something with Selene that, like, triggers obviously her motherly instincts, and that gives him that moment of clarity. Or not moment of clarity, moment of opening for Ignia to attack. If a person with Sea Dragon Slayer magic trained in Mersobia, could he become 3rd generation? Yeah, he'd be 3rd gen then. Rex had worse luck. God Serena turning act Logier Georg bring Selene to his. Oh, here's the thing. Selene was part of the strategy to go there. God Serena was just unlucky. God Serena did not intend for this to happen. Like, Georg shouldn't have done that. Georg should have been like, I'm gonna kill her while she's asleep. Or like, yeah, we should probably do this as a group. But it's like, I mean, like, she can one-shot him. It's just like, nothing they could really do about it. France is disappointed in the fight. I'm fine with the fight. Because, like I said, it's not And I don't think that Mishima is doing this instead for Selene versus Ignia. I think he's doing it more for E&D versus Ignia, which is, again, as much as I love Selene, way more interesting. Like the E&D stuff, I'm hoping so bad we're going to start seeing that shadow around the eyes and those claws start forming next chapter. But I have said this, the same thing that I would say around any of them. I don't mind Selene taking the loss because it makes sense. My only concern would be if she dies. If Selene dies, I'd be upset about it. Oh, Hiku has some translations. Page 17, why stop? Whichever wins, your enemies will decrease by 1. Ignia, did you just remember when your father died? Ignia, I know he was killed by Acnologia and Natsu. My father was the strongest dragon. Ignia, he was the best by Acnologia. Ignia says I'm different, Natsu. I would have won from Acnologia. Yeah, probably. He wouldn't have hesitated. I believe that. I think he would have. I think he would have done. Yeah, like this. So he took that opening, like literally, like he took a conversation when they're doing plot things, and he's like, "Fuck that." Like it's funny because it's kind of like I like that Ignia's not like he's not going in any way playing with tropes of like, hey, we're having conversations. We're gonna pretty much not fight. Where it's like it's kind of like how Natsu with Jackal and like other cases where he's like. You'd think that characters were gonna have the whole like explanation of abilities and dialogue, and he's like, nope, and he's just gonna like run into him and try and like throw hands and wreck house. One sec, I'm just looking at something really fast. If Ignia is being controlled by Jalal. Wait, what? If Ziggy is being controlled like Jalal, do you think he'll be more durable? No, I don't think he's being controlled. I mean, you could do something with that, but I mean, like, at the same time, I don't think he is. My belief is that the nice Ziggy was some form of corruption in his programming and in the data of how he works. Because it's like, the Ziggy head in the jar is weird, but I mean, at the same time, it's, or I guess in the helmet, but it's like, if that's the case, like, what happened that, like, there's the nice Ziggy and the bad Ziggy? I figured it'd be, like, some form of programming, but it's like, what if, like, the brain, like, the head in there is not really Ziggy? It's like, he's a cyborg who has a brain in there so he can operate better. Like, he's a machine. Like, what if his creator put his own head in there, and then, like, just to kind of, like, the brain is what takes place in the robot to make him sentient and more humanoid or something? But maybe, like, Shiki, because of, like, his power, like, pulled the memories and, like, made him temporarily nicer, but then eventually he got fixed and became a bad guy again. I read the manga series of Radio the Healer, but it's pretty interesting. I don't know about that. I see Hades could cheat death from Historia. I don't see it. There's nothing that he has that exists that he'd be able to do it. Because, like, we already saw him, and he didn't cheat death when he came back as a soul for a short period of time. So I did, like, Ziggy versus Elsie, on where both Selene and Elsie, their ass kicked because they caught off guard. Well, like, Elsie hesitated. Elsie's was a problem of her own, whereas, like, Selene got distracted because of Natsu, and Ignia doesn't care about, like, conventional rules, apparently, of talking. No way Selena's gonna win anytime. I don't think it's that. My guess was more of like a draw or like an inconclusive fight. But I mean, like Selene getting distracted and then Ignia taking that opportunity. I mean, that's something that I think logically makes sense. And like I said, as much as I love Selene, I think what makes sense is more important. You see Rebecca's body shattering at the end of Lendard because of her whole body being cracked. That'd be weird. Like, what would Mishima do with that if she just shatters? Go 13 is a great Hitman series. I don't know what to have to do with anything. Time to drop 100 years for Selene is done. I don't think that. Here's the thing. I love Selene. I'm biased to Selene, but Selene doesn't make or break the series for me. I'd be upset, but like Ignia and Suzaku already are both in the story. Ignia has way more character potential, way more value to the overall plot, and Suzaku's a better character. As much as I love Selene, I know that she's not the best character in the series. I also don't think she would die. I feel like it'd be really weird for Mishima to kill her. Do you have the same issue with the Flash running back in time in the Snyder Cut? Because there's no consequences? Well, no, because the thing about the Flash is the Flash has the whole fact of it's like the butterfly effect stuff, where he could easily fuck up the future by going back in time. Whereas, like, if Lucius is just reversing time, I really doubt Tabata is going to do some alternate timeline stuff. because like, is he gonna alter the whole future of the series? Because like, also like, why wouldn't Lucius like then go back and like prevent the problems? Like at this point, why would he not like later if he has a problem, why would he not reverse time, kill them when they're asleep or something? Like there's so many problems I think with it. Whereas you have a way of time travel, but it's not as casual. The casualness of it, I think, is part of the problem. Like people think that he's casually just can reverse time like a fucking god, and it's like at that point, what the fuck did they do? Where it's like even in the movie version with the Flash, like it takes a lot for him to do time travel stuff, and he can't just be like, okay, run back in time, casually fix stuff, come back or whatever. It's like it takes a lot of effort, and it's not nearly as free control. Jason is not happy with Kana's dad saying he's gonna drop it. He is displeased. Irene says no chance. Yes, Irene would get clapped by there though. It's not a fight. Really want to see the fight. I do too. Maybe Selene could have time powers. I don't think she'd have time powers. Like with the moon, I have no problem with her getting defeated. Ignia, the bigger threat anyway. Why is the app not working? So you probably have to update it. If you go to the same link, the link that I have, or there's an app. Let me see what it's called. There's an app that you can use that's like it will get Japanese apps and you can directly update it. It's called let me see. Starts with a Q. I'll show you later. It's called QOAP, like QOOAPP. It's got like a little picture of a dude with the mustache. So like if the app is out of date, you can just go on there, update it from that app, and then it'll be fine. It's probably because you just have an outdated version. Yes. Jason says join the membership. It's $1 to $2. You don't gotta throw much. I'm not saying you gotta, but I would appreciate it. I would love to the point where if like I could just like do YouTube more as like for financial gain and like actually like talk more and do more streams and stuff. But it's just like obviously like it's just hit and miss a lot of the time. I don't do it for the money. That's just the bonus. I have like my biggest thing is just talking about stuff. It's always that like it's an incentive, obviously, and I wish I could do it more, but obviously I got to focus on other things. Since Mishima likes Doctor Strange, imagine we got a character than some people in a mirror dimension. If Mishima's gonna make it a Doctor Strange-esque character, that has to be like once we get to Ankh-Sram. But link on Discord, please. I mean Didn't I already link the Discord? I'll link the Discord one more time for anybody that's here. I'll link the Discord one more time. For anybody that wants to do an Agnoloy, you can just eat his magic. Against two. I mean, Agnoloy versus Ignia. Ignia is not using magic. Ignia has like, because Ignia as a dragon should be able to use magic, and we know he's transformed, so he does use magic to a degree. But his innate fire abilities as a dragon are a racial ability that don't have anything to do with magic. Like magic makes a dragon stronger, but it's not something that they are dependent on. Whereas like the wizards, their body is dependent on magic. They need magic for their bodies to function properly. I don't know about the 100 Years quest. I have 5 dragon gods, apparently 6 machine focus only on 2 powerful dragon gods. Viernes is the point of having 5 in the first place. What do you mean? First one we got was Mercephobia. We already have Mercephobia. His stuff got out of the way. Alderaan, we had a whole arc for him. We still have 3 of them left. We have, Selene's obviously in her, like, people are going to be questioning her status. But, I mean, like, we've been working to them. We just didn't get introduced 5, then Mishima immediately beat them. Like, we had whole arcs around Mercephobia and Alderaan. Hodge is also no durability. I mean, he has durability, but it's like he has no physical durability. Like, he's not made to take a beating. There's also the fact that magic in Rave Master doesn't work on plain weapons. Like, a regular sword is immune to magic. So it's like, does anyone have a sword? I guess we don't really have swords, actually, now that I think about it. Well, actually, what's his name? There's the one Galactica member, or no, the Interstellar Cure. He looks like a robot, so like I assume he would be immune to a lot of that magic. Bam. Chainsaw Man Soul Sakuna. I mean, yeah. Isn't the chapter out? Yeah. The chapter came out like an hour ago. Oh damn! It's almost been 2 hours. I've been streaming for 2 hours. Damn. Selene was one of the hypest villains alongside Ignia, just to be defeated. Like, we don't know if she's fully defeated, but like the thing is that she only lost because of an opening. And like I said before, like fights where characters are that equal, it literally takes that split second opening for the fight to be decided. And we know that these characters were literally going into this knowing how strong each other are, wanting to kill each other. And Ignia doesn't fuck around. Like Ignia had a direct example of the difference between himself and his dad. If Igniel and Acnologia switch spots, not even talk about power levels. The second Acnologia had that part where he was weakened by phase, opportunity taken, dead. Opportunity taken, dead. Like, Ignia doesn't fuck around like that. And I mean, like, that's just a different of character personalities, but it's like, that's still like something that's way different. I'd like Jackal to survive. I would have liked Jackal to survive too. I always like Jackal. Indy versus Natsu, awesome. I can't wait. How I saw the fight was hyping Ignia up. I mean, Ignia's looking good. Ignia's looking real good right now. If Hades never ran into Zeref, do you think Mavis and Makarov could have redeemed him, or was too far gone? I mean, he ran into them the same time. Like, he was with Mavis at the time. We're talking about in Sirius Island? No. He has literally decades of murdering people and, like, laying waste to cities and towns and, like, massacring people. Like, he was literally, he's literally Wizard Hitler. Like, he was gonna pretty much turn the world into only wizards and even only the strong. Here intentionally setting up Ignia, since he's the endgame dragon. I mean, he has way more reason to be the focus than Selene. I love Selene, but I mean, like, you can't look at their backstories and see who they connect to in the story and think Selene was gonna be more important. Like, again, I am biased to Selene. I fully admit I have a bias of Selene, but that's a fact. Ignia has way more story importance. Absurdly more story importance. And on top of that, he has way more personal stakes than Natsu. Natsu has no real personal stakes against Selene. Selene is an opponent. She's obviously an enemy and somebody he wants to defeat. But Ignia is somebody he has personal stakes towards. Oh, yeah, I wish Jackal lived too. I already read that, but I think the same thing every time. I probably Ian versus Ignia fight next time. I hope so. I hope so bad. Oh my god, that will be so hype, like so cool. Jackal and Ceylon, interesting curses. I always really liked the curses. I thought they were really cool. Like, I would love to see some more more curse wielding people. You know, it's like, you should be able to achieve the ability to use curses, because, like, it's never been said only demons can use curses. And we know that Gray, as the Devil Slayer, is using partly devil abilities. And on top of that, we know that demons can use magic. Dragons don't have to use magic. They are innately magic users, but they can use magic. So obviously, they should be able to use other powers. And, like, curses don't stem from a demon thing. They stem from a negative emotion thing. Denji Demon forms Sukuna. If you take the full Chainsaw Man versus Sukuna gets crushed. I'm surprised Zaku didn't go top 3 in popularity poll. That's true. I'm surprised he didn't get higher. But I mean, like, too many popular girls. That's another thing. Like, Selene was what, 4th most popular character now? I'd be really surprised if Mishima killed her off. How do you think Jin would interact with Gajeel and Let, since these are equivalent? There'd be a lot of non-conversation. Like, he'd be standing there, Gajeel would be mean-mugging people, Let would just kind of look out of place, because he'd probably be like, what the fuck is these guys' deal? Because, like, Let has that similar expression, but we know Let doesn't have that personality. Selene probably won't have time powers, probably a time dimension. That'd be cool. Like, if she has, like, a dimension where time's faster, so she heals faster, I think that'd be pretty neat. Batman versus Spider-Man. Oh, the Batman. I love the Batman way more than Spider-Man. Like, I haven't watched the new Spider-Man movie. That's a fact, though. I will admit that. I have not watched the new Spider-Man. But I do not believe there's anything in there that I would like more than the Batman. The new Batman was exactly what I wanted for a Batman movie. Like, I wanted a detective, grounded Batman movie that, one, has the actual combat. Like, the Christian Bale Batman was cool in his own way, but I hate how immobile he is. I hate how, like, little he moves around, and I hate how like the characters have to come to him. Anyway, I gotta end the stream. I gotta go take care of some business. This is longer than I thought. So, any more questions? Ask. If you guys just drop any of the questions that I don't answer in the comments of this stream after it ends, I'll answer them. And like I said, if you want to be a member, $1 will get you the priority, so I will see your messages above other people's. So anyway, other than that, in an hour we're gonna do the Natsu versus Luffy reaction. So in an hour we're gonna be doing that. Okay. So in that, or I guess you could wait an hour.